Hello, everyone. The comments aren't coming up on the screen. That's an issue. Hello, my paratroopers. Is that what we agreed on? We're going to call them. We're going to call our paratroopers. I'm going to work on this real quick. Yeah. Then we have to do the Patreon, too. The comments are all right here, but you can't see them. Working on getting everything set up here, folks. We got a late start today. My job has been running me ragged, so it's been really hard. Dealing with a lot of personal things, too, so.
Nothing's coming up.
Mm-mm.
No, stuff is here. Oh, okay. You know what? I know what it is. There we go. Okay. Perfect.
Someone said, your strength is amazing. What does that mean? Are you talking about me? My strength? The Squirrel Master taught me everything I know. All right, folks, we're letting the live stream, we're letting the chat room fill up a little bit. We're going to have a couple guests come on and join us in a little while. As you probably read the description, Nick Valente is going to come on from the NADP. And Barton Nunley is going to be joining us and going to be talking about some stuff. First, we got a lot of things to talk about to get to that point. I want to give the address again so that people, if they want to send things to us, I was asked once again to reiterate this address. It's 6001 West Palmer Lane. On the Friday shows, we are going to be able to put that on the screen so that you can see how to spell it. Palmer Lane is Parmer, Lane, LN. So it's 6001 West Palmer Lane, Parmer. Suite 370, PMB 131, Austin, Texas 78727. One more time. 6001 West Palmer Lane, Suite 370, PMB 131, Austin, Texas 78727. Palmer Lane is Parmer. So that's what's going on with that. So it's Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com, Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. That is my email address. If you want to send me a story, you want to email it, that's fine. If you want to message me on Messenger, everyone, I'm really getting tired of saying this, and I started deleting friend requests because people aren't listening. I'm telling you, if you send me a friend request, message me and let me know that you're a listener of the show and you're not just some bot. And I hate to say this, but especially if you're a very good looking, person, a lot of times they'll be like, hey, cutie, what are you doing? And I'm like, why are you talking to me? Obviously you're just some, bot, or you're some person that wants me to look at your webpage. Well, that's not going to happen. So, just let me know that you're a listener of the show so I don't just go in and block you and delete you and then we lose touch forever. So if you could just please, when you send me a friend request, let me know that you are a PRT listener. And if your response is, what's that? Well, I know you're not a listener. Because everybody knows the Paranormal Round Table, the designation is PRT. So prtpodcast.com, that's our website. You can go on there and watch the episodes. You can submit artwork. Speaking of artwork, the Willie Williams Art Contest, is coming to an end, and Anthony is working on finding the. He's doing it as we speak. We're going to figure out who won, who's going to come in first, second, and third. And how's the audio sounding, everybody? Good. So, also, I wanted to talk about something else. My mother is in the hospital, and she's fighting for her life. And it's just very emotional and hard for me and everyone in my family. A lot of my friends and buddies, they've known my mom for years and years, and a lot of these guys have known her for over 20 years, and friends of mine 25 years. And so if everyone out there could just say a prayer for her, that'd be awesome. I mentioned my friends because I have friends that I've been friends with for years and years and years, and have become like practically part of the family. And the outpouring of people from those that I've known for years to people that I've only known for a few months was amazing. I had an emotional breakdown on Facebook, begging God to please help my mother. I kind of feel bad about that, but I know I probably shouldn't feel bad. I don't know what my emotions are, but I broke down, and I just want anything, any way anybody can help in any way, just to pray. It's not a money thing. Sending money's not going to help, the situation. It's nothing like that. There's nothing we can do. All we can do is just pray. I don't know what else to do. I just hope that she can pull through. She's died before, and was brought back to life, and lived another, was it 14 years? Was it 14 years ago when she died? And so I would like to have some more time with her. She was barely coherent, but she did know that I was there. She squeezed my hand, and she knew, I'm pretty sure she knew it was me. It was a very hard thing to deal with. So if anybody's lost a mother or is going through anything similar, I can understand that the pain, the thought of losing my mom is it's not something I don't like to think. I don't want to think about it. I knew she was in bad health for a long time, but you can't really prepare for something like that. You can try to prepare yourself as best you can, but I just hope that she can pull through. She has a story to tell, and I hope she's able to tell it. And so I asked God if he could let that happen. But ultimately, it's up to him, and his will is going to be done, and whatever he decides, that's what happens. You have to accept it, So, anyways, that being said, I wanted to mention the Patreon supporters. Do we have the Patreon supporters set up here? Let me see.
Yeah, we can pull them up on that.
It looks like it's locked.
We'll pull them up on the website.
I'm going to mention the Patreon people here. Thank you for being supporters of the show and helping us to be able to do this. Because without you, we just really can't do it anymore.
No, everyone where it says executive.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, you can just scroll.
So Alexander Murphy, Andrea Krask, Barbara Blindy, Barry, Chris Clough, Chris Smith, Curtis Turner, Don Wells, Dead Man Walking, Derek Tribble, Earl Bowers, Guy, Joyce Burnett, Chronological, Lou the Good Dude, Martin Hertel, Matthew Durgo, Melissa Penne, Patrick Nickerson, Philip Morn, Ralph Ayou, Ricardo Herrera, Russell Nash, Shannon, Terry Fusilar, Titan, Wendy Page Williams, and that's it for those. And for the top tier. But everyone else, thank you for donating and pitching in and helping out. Any and everything helps so we can continue to bring you this show. Thank you for that. Thank you for your support. Brian Taylor says, I lost my mother to cancer on my birthday 5 years ago. Oh, my God. He says, I know what you're going through. Oh, That's hard. Got so many things going on. Scorpion's aunt is in hospice now. She's dying of cancer, and I was with him earlier, and he was pretty sullen about it. It's a hard thing, folks. So the art contest will be announced toward the end of the show once Anthony figures it out. We tried to do it a different way this time. I put it through alphabetical and marked them as announcements, and now they're scattered all throughout the Paranormal Round Table group. If y'all have been listening to the have been paying attention to the Paranormal Round Table group page, I encourage you to go and check it out, because that's where all this stuff is going down. Darren Castle, got my phone for just a second. Let me look at my phone for a second here. I wanted to mention him by name because, people were saying, oh, he stirred up a bunch of stuff. No, he didn't. This stuff's already been stirred up. There's nothing you can do. Nobody can blame one person for all this mess that's going on. There are people that are stoking the flames, though, I can tell you that. There are people who are, riling people up and saying things and going behind the scenes. And so one of the things that Darren Castle, he says, I want to apologize to the group. My thread about LBL and other things really got out of hand. I should have realized it would go that way, but I thought we could discuss the issues without it becoming personal. I feel really bad about some of the hurtful exchanges that went on, and I am sorry for my part in them. Okay, Darren, you had mentioned I'm going to take this thread down, and I told you leave it. Okay, the reason I said that is because everyone has their right to say what they want to say, as long as within reason, as long as it's not belittling, berating, offensive. Some people got really nasty on some of the comments, though, and it really showed me the character of some people. One in particular attacking Jody's wife and mentioning his wife on there. Not necessarily directly attacking her, but just saying something about his family. That's off limits. And I gave this guy another chance, and I'm telling you right now, that's off limits. If you don't like this guy, you can voice your opinion without being so nasty and hateful. Jody Cook is a friend of mine. And he has gotten a little upset about this whole thing with Roger. He feels like he's not being heard. He feels like he's being attacked, and he's not. He feels like that Roger is lying. That's his opinion, and he's entitled to it. And everybody out there is entitled to their opinion, but that doesn't necessarily make it so. I can say, whatever I want to say, and you can say you're a liar. I can tell you that this shirt that I have on is blue, and you can say, no, it's black. And I can tell you it's black, and you can say it's blue. It doesn't matter. We can argue about anything all day long. My point is that we can have grown-up adult discussions without people acting a fool. Here's the thing. I don't want you, Darren, or any of the other people in the PRT, Paranormal Lounge, Paranormal Round Table, Paranormal Encounters, or Whisper to a Scream with Ryan Tremblay. I don't want any of you to feel like you can't, say what you want to say. You can't. You're not allowed to voice and say what you want to say. That's not correct. So if you have an opinion about it and you want to make a post about it, as long as it's not super offensive and hurting people's feelings and saying ugly things about people's family, post away. I'm not going to stop you. I believe in free speech, man. And says here, Frank 522, mom died in 2006. Very painful. Thanks for doing your jobby, Wolf. Thank you, Frank, for that donation. I'm not going to stop anybody from posting what they want to post. I was told, hey, take this post down, do this, do that by different people. And no, I'm not going to do that because, it wasn't anything vicious what Darren posted. So he has a right to say what he wants to say. So that's not that part right there is yeah. I want to also mention that my friends at the Cryptid Studies Institute, Johnny Henderson and Elijah Henderson. Johnny lost his beloved wife, April, to cancer. So it's a very hard thing. Yeah. So anyways, I want everybody to keep them in your prayers. They lost Elijah lost his mother and Johnny lost his wife. And it was she was diagnosed with cancer, but they thought that they were going to be able to stop it, and then it just didn't work out that way. And so if anybody wants to donate or help out, when Barton comes on, he can tell you, he can give you a way for you to donate or whatever to help out in that situation, and we can discuss that further. I'm going to be making my own donation, so we can do that. In fact, I can just donate whatever's given today, but I'll probably be doing a lot more than whatever's given today, so to help with the burial and whatever else needs to be done. So that's what's happening. I'm going to be bringing Nick Valente on shortly from the NADP. He's going to be talking, and then I'm going to reach out to Barton. A lot of times I just call people up, and I'm not kidding. I really do. I just call people up, and if they answer, they answer. Typically they do, but I set this up earlier to just in the last couple of hours because Roger, the witness from the LBL, was supposed to come on, but he said he's planting on his farm. So that's what's going on with him. He was going to come on and he was going to talk with Nick Valente. And then he said he couldn't do it, so he's going to try and come on next week, and we're going to try and bring Nick back on next week. But I do want to hear what Barton has to say, because Barton did talk with Roger in the Cryptid Studies Institute. So I'm going to Darren says, "Yep, I'm still." What it says, "Hi to anyone who I miss. I am a little distracted. Laugh out loud." Yeah, we just mentioned you, Darren, for all the crap you started, turd. I'm kidding. I just told everybody, Darren, that you are not responsible for that post. That you made the post, but it wasn't. I don't believe you were doing it to start anything. People just, can't talk like adults, and everybody has to act a fool and start fighting with everybody. And I'm not going to mention names because that's probably what they want, is to be heard on the air so that people know who they are. They can get their 5 minutes of ridiculous YouTube fame or whatever it is they're looking for. I don't know. I'm just really upset with some of the people's behavior in there. Deleted a couple comments because it just got too ridiculous. So, I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm disappointed in some people's behavior and this whole thing that's been going on. Not able to have a discussion, without having, all this anger and animosity. But so the other thing we were going to talk about before we get started with the discussion with Nick Valente, what is the next cryptid? Everybody's like, what is the next cryptid? Well, here's what we came up with. We'll let everybody take a vote on the Paranormal Round Table group, and then we're going to put it on there, and we're going to let everybody decide. Brian Clough, thank you for that $10 donation. Anthony, is there a way to give people a little poll, with like 4 or 5 choices? You know how to set that up?
On Facebook?
Yeah. On the Paranormal Roundtable group page. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. And everybody get ready, because we're going to give you some choices. One is going to be the Jersey Devil. It's going to be a choice. And then one's going to be a Hellhound or Cadejo. And then those were 2 I thought about. Another one I thought about was a lizard man, because people see these, but then there's such a wide variety of reptilians. And then I thought maybe a Yeti, like a specific type of Bigfoot, and then I thought maybe a Rougarou, but you guys let me know what you think. There's all kinds of different stuff, gargoyles, whatever you guys want, we can do. But we're going to make a little poll with 4 or 5 different critters on there, and then y'all can decide what the next one will be. I'm rooting for the Jersey Devil because I think that's just one of the big ones. So I mean, we should put that on there. Anything else? Okay. Let me see.
Should be J, K, and N.
Okay. So what I did was I put all of the pictures from the art contest. They go in letters because last month so there was some discrepancy and I ended up having to pay 2 first places. So we did it differently this month. We did letter designations. So we did J, K, and N. So if your picture is J, then it will look like that. You can see it. Woo. Okay. That is the first place winner. If your picture, and this is a creepy looking one. Oh my gosh. If that's your picture, you can see that. I don't know if the camera's catching it correctly. That's second place. I don't know who that is. I don't even know who these people are. I just post them and that's it. And this is in. We got 113. And so if that's yours, you won third. Top tier is $100. Second tier is $50. See, Joe Olin, the money he just donated, that pays for the second place person. Thank you, Joe, for that wonderful donation. Thank you so much. And then $25 is the third place donation. That's in. So so that's what's going on with that. And like I said, Darren, I don't think you have to really apologize and be all upset about, whatever. I don't think your post was that bad. So we're going to go ahead and call Nick. And we're going to get him on here. Get this started. Wear these goofy headphones I can't stand wearing. Make my head look bigger than it already is. I need the phone numbers. I have them on my phone, but I don't have them memorized. I'm gonna have to use your phone because my phone doesn't have the thing where you can plug it in. They're removing all that. It's all Bluetooth now. It's ridiculous. So we got to do things like this. It's the easiest way to do it, though. So right now we're going to call Nick and we're going to get him on the phone.
Hey Josh, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Sounded a little rough when you answered there. I think it's a connection, but I think we got you.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know. I can always readjust this connection here.
It sounds a little like a, I don't know, something's going on.
All right, let me do something. Hold on.
Get some gremlins.
How's this?
Ah, it's much better, Nick.
Okay.
Folks, if you don't know who Nick Valente is, you've been living under a rock. No, I'm just kidding. Nick is a researcher, and he really needs to be an author or / podcaster because he's done so much research. He's got so much work that he's done. He's got a very impressive body of work, and I have a lot of respect for Nick. And Nick is a part of the NADP. And you've done a lot of research. You've traveled around. You remind me of like Ken Gerhard, Lyle Blackburn, but you haven't written books. You know, if you had written the books that those guys have written, you'd be just like them. But you've been a globetrotter. So I wanted to introduce you. He's been on my show. We did a 3-part show together where we just talked about a lot of different things. And so yeah, Nick is on. So Nick, what do you want to talk about? Because there's a lot going on with this thing with the LBL, and I wanted to get you on the show and let you say what you had to say and what you wanted to talk about. So tonight.
Well, I'm just sorry that Roger couldn't come on tonight. We could have a respectful exchange of thoughts, and cooler heads have to prevail here. You got both sides of the field. Some people believe, what he says. Some people do not believe what he says. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, I've said this before on your show. My mantra is to prove or to disprove the existence of the cryptids that I research out there. And as you told the audience, what I've done in the past before I even joined the NADP, I've been north, south, east, and west checking on different cryptids, and I've proven at least 3 of them to my satisfaction to be known animals. And I won't talk about the Jersey Devil one because I've proven that one to myself, and because I know you're going to have a contest on that, so we won't talk about that, and I won't give it away unless people have already heard me. But I've been over the border into Mexico saw the chupacabra, a dead one anyway. Been down to the Pine Barrens in New Jersey and saw what the Jersey Devil looked like.
And folks, I want to interject right there. It is a horse with wings type thing with a dog head with big, huge teeth, and it like has flames coming out of its backside.
That's what it looks like.
Exactly.
Right?
And you proved it. Thank you. And you sent me that picture, but I can't show anybody because it'll disappear if you look at it.
Yeah, you don't want to give it away yet anyway because you're doing something with that with the contest. I don't want anybody to get messed up. Well, I tell you, I got a lot of nasty notes because, like I said, I try to prove or disprove, and whoops, I lost you.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just very quiet.
All right, I saw you moving your hands. I try to prove or disprove, and I told you what it was, and I won't say anything about it. But I've also been to West Virginia, because the Mothman is fascinating. I mean, the Mothman he's the harbinger of doom. He's showed up all over the place in New York City before the 9/11 attacks. He's in Chicago all the time. He's down there in West Virginia. And, I've proven to myself what that was also. And, the only thing I was kind of sad that I didn't get to see or prove or actually somehow catch a glimpse of was the Sasquatch, or Bigfoot as they call it in the United States. Sasquatch, they refer to it as in Canada. When I was in Washington State and Colorado and in Oregon, we did hear the wood knocks out there. And I mean, they were getting closer and closer, and that was something. But we did not see anything. I did not find any footprints when we were out there. We were out there for over a week in all 3 states. We did find those Sasquatch shelters that people see built out there out of wood. So I mean, it's been a fascinating time. I mean, I consider myself to be a cryptozoologist, and one of my favorites is Nick Redfern. A lot of the stuff he writes about. He's actually a globetrotter himself.
Oh yeah, Nick is a good friend of mine. Actually, I believe him and Ken and Lyle are all on their way to the Mothman conference. I saw something about that.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, he's I think he was living in Texas for a while. I think he went back to England. And
No. He's here.
Is he back?
Yeah, he's over there in Arlington.
Mm.
Yeah, he's in Arlington because we were going to get together, but the COVID thing just kind of blew it all up. And then when I was up in Fort Worth, late last summer, I had set up plans to hang out with Lyle, and it fell through because he was recording another album, and then we were going to surprise Nick and go hang out, but just kind of didn't work out. And then now I wanted to go to the Mothman conference. I wanted to do all these other things, but I'm kind of tethered to my job right now. It's just we're still dealing with the freeze down here and how it destroyed all the sprinkler systems. Because the sprinkler systems, we're still doing fire watches because of that, and it's making us money, but it really sucks. I felt really bad for this apartment complex manager today. She was just like, "There's no end in sight," and I'm just like, "Well," and she's like, "But hey," oh, that was loud. She's like, "But hey, you're making money." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm making money." I felt for her, but I mean, the fire department calls the shots on that, not me. So.
Josh, has it warmed up down there a lot? Or?
Yeah, it's warmed up. Today is a really nice day today. I think it's 75 degrees or 74 degrees, and it was nice. When I spoke with you earlier, I was driving in the truck, and we were just, it was nice and cool. And yeah. So I'm still waiting because you're supposed to come down here and beat me up.
Oh, yeah. Beat you up. All right, Pete, for anybody that's listening, I'm 205 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, and Josh Turner is 365 pounds of massive muscle. Well, and he's 6'4".
Yeah. So I'm about 355, 360. So
you went down.
I went down a little, but still, yeah. And so,
take it easy on me. Yeah.
So, but my nephews are all training with guys that they kickboxed and boxing, and they're doing MMA. They're doing the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. My buddy Chief, Arcanum Combat. Actually, Anthony, you've been training with him. How's it going?
It's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't teach him hands for anything. Not this kid, but his sensei. Tried teaching him to punch, man, and the guy was like, "It's like, dude, he wants to wrestle. So just wrestle, Chief. Do what you got to do." But I'm scared. I'm telling you what. I don't want Nick coming down here and videoing it on YouTube and beating me up, man. I don't want that. I don't want you doing that.
No, we're gonna have fun. We'll have fun when we go down there.
When the other day when I was talking to you, you were carrying, you were humping a 65-pound rucksack on your back. That's crazy for people who don't know what that means. Is he's carrying you're carrying that on your back. Humping it means that's what you're doing. You're carrying it on your back. So that's crazy. You were like hiking with that. And then when I asked you why you were torturing yourself, you said so you could fight a 6'4", 360-pound guy. And I was all like, what? That's my size. I'm like, what?
It's constant training. I got to do that. I don't want to get out of breath when I'm out there. I might have to run around the ring for crying out loud.
Well, wind is important. I don't smoke or do anything, because of that. I don't not smoke cigarettes even, but like the CBD and all that, the vape. People, I take CBD and they're like, oh, well, the vape. And I'm like, I won't do it. I don't put anything in my lungs because I want my wind,
Oh, yeah, you need the wind. That is super important. But, I mean, that's something I do often. And something else I do, just a tip for people out there, something that you never do is walk backwards. Mm-hmm. During my hikes, it's a 3-mile hike with that on my back. What I'll do is for about 150 steps, I'll walk backwards.
Wow.
And actually, it helps if you have bad knees.
Yeah, you told me that. Or shin splints.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it actually helps that out a lot. So I do 5 sets of that, 5 sets of 150 walking backwards while I'm on my walk. And, that's part of my training. Might have to backpedal against, away from you. So,
yeah. One of the things I was actually good at, I've known 2 fighters that have been, I didn't know them personally, but I knew 2 fighters, that Chuck Liddell and Muhammad Ali. They were 2 guys who could backpedal and knock people out because they had such good back strength.
Exactly.
And that was one of the things I was always good at. Like I could punch going backwards, and I could throw punches. You have such a strong, back, and because you really need the hip motion to throw the really hard knockout punches. When you're moving, you're trying to do. Yeah. And with me, I was always blessed with that ability to be able to go backwards and then tag people because I had such strong arms and a back. But
what Chuck used to do, and I think Muhammad Ali did the same thing because I observed both of them, is as they're backpedaling, they would plant and then throw that punch.
Yeah.
It's an immediate plant and immediate punch.
And then a boom,
That's what they would do. And hey, your cousin or friend over there didn't show you anything about that other art I was telling you about, right?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, good. I won't mention it to you anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll forget about
my
it.
brother knows. My brother knows. So no.
Your brother.
Yeah, my brother knows.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
I gotta call him up and tell him not to tell you anything.
No, my brother's gonna have to. He's my older brother, but I can still beat him up. So I can bully him into telling me. He's gonna teach me because he told me, he goes, maybe I just won't tell you. I won't show you, so Nick can beat you up. And then I was like, no, I'm gonna bully him into doing it. So now,
Nick, 110 pounds or what?
Oh, my brother's about 270. So yeah, he's not a small guy. Yeah, him and Scorpion are about the same height, same size. They're about 265, 270. Yeah. Wow. My brother's lost a lot of weight, though. I'd say he's probably about 250 now. He's lost a lot of weight because he's been eating better and doing better. And my brother, I'll tell you what, my brother's a tough guy. He's had 3 of his teeth knocked out in a bar fight, and he's had his throat cut, and he's still alive.
Oh, throat cut.
Absolutely, yeah. Had his neck cut right open, dude, and literally almost bled to death in the back seat of my vehicle. I took him to the freaking hospital and like, but because the hospital was right there, so it was faster for us to just instead of waiting for an ambulance, And but it messed up his voice, so he's kind of got a gravelly voice. People are like, why does he talk like that? And I was like, because he's had his neck. He's had me. I've been stabbed twice. You've been in a lot of scrapes, man.
Nice.
Have my jaw closed. So. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, dude. But when you come, I don't want to fight you. I want to take you around and show you everything, and maybe we could do a little investigating, hang out.
That would be excellent. Yeah. I know you can't come. I'll make the announcement here. We're going to be doing the LBL and 4-state tour this coming summer, late July or early August, and one of them is LBL. That's going to be, and it's also another one is going to be West Virginia, Mothman territory. Yeah. And the first place we're going is into Missouri, because that is big. There's a lot of activity right now. I actually had a team go into Missouri, into that area. I had 3 teams out last month, and they went into that area. That's one of them, and they went there, with a specific purpose in mind. But there's a lot of Dogman activity, and the author D.A. Roberts, who writes those cryptid stories that you'll see on my site there, he actually has, like myself, he's actually had an encounter with a Dogman, and he goes out into Missouri areas, all the parks over there, to get inspiration. And do we have a couple of minutes for a quick story about something that he and a buddy of his did that were really stupid?
Absolutely. Okay. We're waiting on Barton. Barton's getting his phone has to charge, so we're waiting on him anyway. So go ahead.
Well, D.A. Roberts and his good friend Steve, who lives just down the street from him, he was trying to get some inspiration for his latest story. So he calls Steve up, says, "Listen, let's get the wives in the soccer van, and let's go over to Joe Baldy Park." So they go over to the park, and they're looking around, and they've got these flashlights, 2,000 lumen flashlights. They're shining them around, and they see this one bridge, and there's all forest area back there, and he's trying to get a setting in mind for his story. Well, evidently, Steve's taking pictures of him while he's doing that, and then Steve has to go to the bathroom. So he takes the camera away from Steve. Steve goes over to this bridge where D.A. Roberts was just standing, and he's tinkling over there. Now, you know why a dog pees, right? To mark its territory? Yeah. They get home that night. I don't know how the hell they got home, but they got home that night safely. And they're looking through the pictures. They threw it up on a 30-inch screen, and they see eye shine. And they're going, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eye shines over 6 feet off the ground. They know for a fact that they're over 6 feet off the ground because he knows these trees. He's been in that park during the daytime. And imagine, Steve's over there peeing near the Dogmen because he went right over to exactly where DA was sitting. Standing. And the Dogmen must have been looking at them saying, these guys are either a bunch of tough hombres that we don't want to mess with, or they're a bunch of crazy humans. What the hell are they doing marking their territory over near us? Mm-hmm. I just couldn't believe it. Marking his territory out there. Unbelievable. But he didn't know. I guess he didn't know. They found out later on when they were looking at and he showed me the pictures too. The eye shine's right there. They picked it out. It's like, you got to be kidding me. You guys are nuts.
There was a church that I had an employee that worked for me years ago. And he told me and Scorpion a crazy story, and actually several of us that worked with him, about a set of dogmen that came up out of a well. And I talked about it on DER. And I should really revisit that story on Paranormal Round Table. But I took my wife out there because when she came, she was just like, I want to go to this place. So I took her, and I didn't want to go. And I had to use the bathroom real bad. And I'm talking like I had to go. And so we got about a mile or two down the road, and I pulled off onto this county road. And Texas has got all these backwoods. Nobody drives by for hours.
No.
So I pulled out, and I got off right there by this pasture, and I started to do my business real quick. And my wife can tell you, we heard crashing and breaking, like something was storming toward me through the brush.
Oh.
And it scared the heck out of both of us. And I jumped in my truck, and she's like, hurry, something's coming. And like, at first I was like just kind of my own little world, and I had the music playing in the truck. So I was standing right there by my door, and I was like, what? And then I turned, and I heard it. She turned the music down, and you could hear it. And so I jumped in the truck, and she was at this point screaming, freaking out. And so then we drove out of there, and yeah, it was crazy, dude. And wow. And it was about a mile and a half from that place, and I was like, I'm never going back out there at night. I'm not going to do it, man. It's a really creepy place. I mean, and they've capped that well off, that supposedly those things came out of. And so that's a weird thing that they actually put a metal, like, encapsulated it.
That place where you were near, is that in Austin or close to it?
It's in a small town outside of Austin. I really probably shouldn't say, because I think.
All right, no, don't say it. Well, how about north, south, east, west?
But I can take you by there one day if you ever come, and I'll tell you personally. But I can't say it on because if a bunch of people start going over there and something happens, then Josh Turner said it, and then and so that's the thing. I mean, that church was defunct for a long time, but it looks like now they've remodeled it and they're doing something with it, like they're using it or whatever. So I don't want to be. Diane Rain, thank you. It says my 3 chihuahuas just dumped me for the ceramic heater. Thanks, Nick. Says thanks, Nick. I'm from the Show Me State. Oh, okay, so she's from Missouri. Thank you for your donation, Diane. So Nick, I wanted to ask you a question. You came on tonight, and it's always good to talk to you and everything, but the stuff that's going on with the LBL, and you being a member of the NADP, and I am too, but I mean, like you're in charge of a big part of it. You want to talk about what you do and what that is?
Well, I'm in charge of Region 3. I'm also in charge of the international section of the North American Dogman Project. And what I do is I'm a 14 researcher, and I do a lot of research, not just on the computer, not just on the internet, because you really can't get the good stuff that is really out there. As I travel through all different states years past, and even today, I try to hit little tiny libraries, small old bookstores, because they'll always contain something. I mean, as you know, folklore and legend and everything, there's an inkling of truth in a lot of that stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, you talk to any Native American Indians, and I mean, every tribe has a story about a type of a Bigfoot. Every tribe has a story about a type of a skinwalker or a dogman even. Mm-hmm. My cousin on my mom's side is married to an Algonquin Indian from in Canada now. Yeah. And no Native American Indians in all the time that I've been out west wanted to talk to me because I am white. And that's not something they want to talk to you about. And another thing is, they think that it's bad juju, totally bad, to talk about skinwalkers or anything like that, because that'll bring it upon them and bring it upon their tribe. Plus, they don't trust us, and I don't blame them. I mean, that's their culture. That's their culture. However, my cousin's husband, he's college educated in the United States. That's where they met. They're married. And I brought up some Black Rifle coffee, which he absolutely loves, so I have to send him a couple of pounds every here and there. And we sat down over several cups, and he was talking to me about to the Canadian people, the Canadian Indians, what they feel the Sasquatch is, and what they feel that the Wendigo is, or Wendigo. See, up there, the Wendigo, as I spoke to your buddy over there, Ryan Paul Tremblay, up in Canada, the Wendigo is totally different. It's more like a Gugway, except with a grayish, whitish type of hair or fur,
Wow.
if you may be. So it's different up there, and the tribes up there. He was explaining to me, and he goes, "There's something we do not like, and we try to keep away from." So, I mean, my research, like I said, it takes me all over the place to different little tiny libraries. I'm looking at microfiche. I don't know if you remember what that stuff is from the old days. You
yeah.
got to put it up on a projector and project it down on a desk. And I mean, newspapers from the 1800s contain a wealth of knowledge, in reference to cryptids. And it was a big thing back then, because remember, they didn't have computers and cell phones and movie theaters and all the like, so that was a big thing. And they did a lot of stories on that. If somebody mentioned something, bam, it's in the newspaper. And I feel like that's part of my job, to go out there and try to find things, because cryptozoology it's a rough field. It's not recognized by science, but after all, the koala bear, 65 years it took for them to actually find one.
Or the gorilla.
Yeah, the silverback gorilla, the same thing. I mean, it took so long. I mean, there's so, people are, well, something that big as a silverback gorilla, and why can't they find them? Well, they're avoiding you, and they don't want to see you, and they're in areas you can't reach.
Yeah. And
if you can reach there, you're not going to be bringing big cameras with you and a bunch of people and everything like that. So, just the cryptozoology world is so interesting. I personally took last year, because I want to know as much as I can, I personally took 2 diploma courses in cryptozoology, and I had to take them out of places in Europe, because those are the only colleges that will offer something like that. But at least I got a diploma. It took me 6 months to do each course. I've read, over 300 some odd books on cryptozoology, different cryptids. And it's just a fascinating field. But at the same time, I'm also doing zoology, because after all, you have to know what real animals are before you can say, oh, this is not a real animal. This is a cryptid. And, people sometimes mistake a certain animal for a cryptid when it's really, it's really not. So,
Nick, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. Since you've been doing this as long as you've been doing it, and are you familiar with the LBL? What's going on with LBL?
Yes.
Okay. And you're familiar with that story, because we had planned, folks, for you to come on tonight, and you were going to talk with Roger. Mm-hmm. And Roger couldn't. He said he had to plant, and he has a farm up in Iowa, and he said he couldn't make it, and you wanted to talk with him. And Nick, I have a lot of respect for you, and I know that you are a fair and honest guy, and we've had lots of conversations. And I want your take on what you think about his story. Now, I mean, just break it down as best you can, and tell me what you think. I mean, is there a possibility that this is the real deal, or you just think it's just too incredible, or what? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, there's the word. You just said the whole word over there. Anything in this world is possible. Okay, and while it is not probable, anything is possible. So I have to think outside the box, and I have to have an open mind to Roger's story. However, the reason why I'd like to talk to Roger and do it on the air, this way people don't think we're, faking anything, and I'll be totally cordial with him, because I have no beef with him. That's his story, which he says. I just have some questions about his story that, to me, do not make sense. Mm-hmm. Now, my background, all right? It's paramilitary, it's a state police officer, and a federal police officer later on. And I have questions about his story that I'd rather hold, if you don't mind, or if you want to do it now. I'd rather hold it until I speak to Roger to ask him about them, because but I'd like to hear his instant answers on that.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to do when I wanted to bring on a friend of ours, and that's Barton Nunley, and he was going to talk a little bit. You and him could go back and forth about this, and yeah. And Asher, thank you, Ashera. Thank you for the donation. It says, love the show. Nick has a lot to offer the field with his knowledge and unique research approach.
No, thank you.
Sure, I disagree. I think Nick's nuts, but that's whatever.
I'm coming down here, so don't say.
Oh, I'm messing with you, Nick. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You are a very level-headed and very. You're a smart guy. I mean, I've had long conversations with you, and so, the questions that you were going to ask Roger, I'm not asking you to throw those out there right now and whatever. But what I'm saying is the story overall. What I mean, do you think that this could be a legitimate thing? I mean, do you think that this could be, or do you think maybe it's a separate incident because people have said that too? And so I tonight I wanted to bring Barton on and let him give a kind of an update about what's going on and when he's talked to Roger with the Cryptid Studies Institute guys, and and what he talked about with Roger, and I wanted you to hear that, and then maybe next week if Roger can get away, then you and Roger can talk, and you can kind of do a cross-examination. Like I actually told Roger that I used those exact words, and Roger was like, I'm all for it. I'm completely okay with Nick talking to me. He just doesn't want to, in his own words, like being yelled at or talked over.
Oh, no.
And I vouched for you. And I told him, I said, Nick is a very fair and honest guy, and he's not going to do that.
I tend to see things in black and white, and I try to prove things. And like I said, my mantra is to prove or to disprove, and that's what I've been doing all these years. I mean, over 20 years of doing cryptozoological investigations and research. It's just like things from my police background that don't make sense, things from, that he said don't make sense. Maybe he can clear them up. It's possible. As far as, there's some things in reference to the firearms and other things that he said that to me don't seem probable. But then again, maybe he was there and maybe these were not dogmen. Maybe these were some other type of creature.
And that's one thing I want to talk about. And now, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to call somebody, and then I'm going to get Barton on. But I'm going to call somebody to talk about that exact what you just said.
Okay.
What you just said right now, because I was just, you just said it, and I was like, I'm going to ask this question. So hang on 1 second and hold on to your hats, folks, because we're going to call somebody he's not an expert in that, but he's pretty dang close. Let's see what he has to say about this. I'm going to just hang on, Nick.
Okay. Hello?
Let me see if I can merge these calls real quick. Okay, Ryan, are you there, Ryan?
Yes, I am.
Okay, this is Ryan Tremblay. And Ryan, Nick, y'all know each other.
Hey, Ryan, how are you, buddy?
What's up, Nick? How you doing, dude?
Oh, great to have you here with us. That's great.
Yeah, Ryan, your audio is a little bit bad.
Oh, I'm on the phone, so.
Yeah, it's a little bit bad. So fix it. I'm just kidding. do what you can, man, to try to make it better. Ryan, Nick just touched on something which I believe is a very possible thing, very plausible thing, actually, that these things that attacked those people in the LBL, and like I've gotten a report that I mentioned that I should have kept a hold of it, but devil monkeys. Now, I know that sounds weird when people say the word devil monkeys, and people think the monkeys from Wizard of Oz, but do you...
not flying monkeys, devil monkeys.
Yeah. So, Ryan, I wanted to get your take on this. I think I'm going to have to call you back, though, because it sounds like you're having some issues. Let me just hang up and then try calling you right back, and then we can get you on here, and then I'm going to call Barton.
All right. Okay.
All right, hang on. I'm going to do that again, Nick. Sometimes if you do it again, it works better. All this technology we got, and we can't get it. Can't get it to work. Hang on. Let's try calling him back because Ryan's got a lot to offer when it comes to his research. He does a lot of research.
Hello?
Yeah, that sounds better. Let me merge you. Hang on.
I can barely hear you, Josh.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just barely.
You can barely hear me. So is that can you hear me, Anthony, through your headphones?
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan. So I don't know what's going on your end, but can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So explain to the audience your research and what me and you have uncovered about devil monkeys.
Okay, well, basically, devil monkeys were starting to be seen in 1875 in Virginia. And they described a very short baboon-like creature that could jump an entire field in one leap. But they also said these things worked in groups. They would see 3 or 4, or even 2 of them at a time. So from what I gather from Roger's story, it does sound a lot like it was a troop of devil monkeys that did this, not dogmen.
That's what I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I think.
Now, remember, there's another being out there that looks like similar to the drawing that he had posted there. It's the skunk apes like they have down in Florida and Louisiana area. I mean, they can travel into other states too. I mean, it's like that's not unheard of. That's not unseen.
Well, when you're talking something that looks like a baboon, though, that's more a guggly type.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also larger, guggy, the old gugway.
They can be large, but sometimes they do tend to be in the 6-foot range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. The devil monkey theory, like I posed that because of the descriptions that he gave. It didn't, and so I even wondered like if it could be 2 different situations. And I was told by a friend of mine who's been involved in this for a while. I'm not going to mention his name because he doesn't want his hat thrown in the ring right now, not yet. Mm-hmm. But he's a very well-known author and researcher, and I spoke with him Sunday. And he says that he really believes, and this person too, Ryan, but he believes that that's what it is, and that there are two different incidents. That the first incident that Jan Thompson was talking about is something different than what this is, and that this incident was But I believe that Roger believes what he's saying. Okay,
and he clearly does believe what he's saying. He definitely has faith in his story.
Yeah, and he can tell it without, he's told me off air. I mean, it's very, flows. But I mean, but by the same token, somebody can memorize something too. I mean, it's not hard to do. But when you hear his story, just because there were 2 incidents that were very similar in a similar area doesn't mean that they're the same thing. And a lot of people will say, absolutely not. I don't believe that that's the same incident. But there's like I said, someone that does believe that that's what's going on. And it could be a mistake. And we've got people being very angry one way or the other, like battle lines being drawn and people dragging the NADP into this and saying, folks, the NADP has been a very stand-up organization as far as I've ever been associated with them at all. Nick invited me to join, year or 2 ago. I don't know when you and I accepted it. At first I was kind of like, I don't know. And then I said, okay. And then I did. I had known Jody for a while, and me and Jody had talked, and I had kind of expressed that I wasn't really interested in joining any sort of allegiances or alliances or anything like that. But I think you guys do good work, and in particular you, Nick. I think you do excellent work, and I think you are an asset to that group, and you put everything you have into everything you do. You and Ryan are very much in the same boat when it comes to that. I wish I could get you two and Vincent Richardson, if you're out there listening, I wish I could just bring you all to Texas and we just build an empire down here, and we could just, rule over this whole thing, but, and then create some alliances and just do what we have to do and take over the world. But
that would be good.
But that being said, though, I mean, you guys do excellent research. You're always on point. If I ever ask one of y'all to about something, and I've cross-checked some of the things, I've asked Nick Redfern and I've asked, Ken Gerhard, and, it's spot on. You don't steer me wrong. And so I really appreciate your input. And so in this particular situation, and I have a ton of respect for Barton Nunley. He's a really good friend of mine, and I like Barton, and I think he's written, in my opinion, I like David Weatherly's books. I like Linda Godfrey's books. I like Chad Lewis and Lon Strickler. They're all good friends of mine. But I like Barton Nunley's book, Inhumanoids. And I think that should be required reading. Anybody who reads about the cryptids, that is, and if you want to read an impressive body of work, what's his name? Albert Rosales. I'm going to get him on the show. he's got a humongous, he is just a huge, vast library. Like he spent years, amassing it. So he's another one. But I think in my top 3 of the cryptid books I've ever read, I think that Barton's was like, it stands out. And to me, Redfern is like the Brad Steiger of the cryptid world, but he he writes about UFOs and about all kinds of other stuff. He's a very Fortean guy too. And I think it's safe to say that we all are actually not just cryptid, paranormal, whatever. We're Fortean, and I think that there's a problem within this community. Just like when I was coaching my nephews, I said, you're going to go and you're going to train, you're going to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but you're also going to learn Muay Thai. Why? Well, because one is a stand-up. To me, the top-tier stand-up game is Muay Thai, and the top-tier ground game is either Brazilian or Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. And I believe that you mix those together and you get a well-rounded ball of fight. And I believe that there's a problem in this community with everybody looking at everything from like, okay, UFOs are one thing, Bigfoot's another, ghosts are another. But people can't tell me why these ranches and these houses and these farms that are having these problems, people are seeing UFOs, people are seeing Bigfoot, people are seeing Dogman, and their house is haunted. Why is that? Why is that happening? No one can explain that to me. And just because something is flesh and blood does not mean that it wasn't drawn there. Because me, as a flesh and blood individual, I can be drawn to energies. You know what I mean? I used to work in a nightclub, and I could sense when there was going to be a fight, and it just like a shark to water. When I hear the noise, I would just gravitate toward it because that's what my job was, and it was like blood in the water to a shark, and all that yelling and all that stuff. I was deeply in tune to that. So it doesn't mean that just because something is physical, that it can't be base in the paranormal. Because
Absolutely.
everything is paranormal, really, because it's unknown. We don't know what it is. And I've had multiple conversations with both of you and with Barton about this same thing. And I really want to give this guy a shot. I want to give him a chance. But I'm going to tell you something right now. If it turns out that he's blowing smoke, you know what I mean? I hope that it comes back, But I really think that this guy should be allowed to say whatever he wants to say. If he wants to say that that's his story, then let him say it. That's my opinion. I'm not saying I believe it because I don't know. Because Nick, you had said off air, none of us were there.
That's right.
Yeah. So none of us can say, that this is the gospel truth or it is an absolute lie. We have no idea. Because when it comes to this subject, folks, it is a very weird subject, dude. I am telling you, it's really weird. Like there's some weird stuff. Nick, we have talked about this, and Ryan too. Just stuff that doesn't, like you go out to investigate a Dogman and there's poltergeist stuff going on. And you're like, whoa, what am I walking into here? Because that happened to me. Not far from my hometown. I mean, Anthony, this little town, and we went out, and it's like, you got something going on here that I don't know if this, maybe it's a coincidence that you have a Dogman coming here, but you definitely have something going on that is paranormal to the point where it's more than just somebody seeing a supposed Dogman. You know what I mean? And then there's these whole these creatures that people will see, and they say, well, they can mimic flesh and blood creatures. I had a Native American friend of mine. He told me that. He said that they can mimic a skinwalker can mimic anything. So if it is an animal, they can mimic that. So you don't really know what you're dealing with. There's this whole what is it? You know what I mean? And
exactly. Yeah, you're going out to investigate A, and B and C show up.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing as I had mentioned to you off the air. I had 3 teams out in the month of April, and we had three additional calls come in where the head of my organization called me up and said, wait a minute, you have to get a team out to, and I'll tell you almost exactly where it was, Highland, New York. We had one in the Adirondacks, we had one in Highland, New York, and we had one in Northwest New Jersey. And they go straight down in the line. And this lady, she would not go to work because she said she had Dogmen out there, and they ripped apart her garbage area, and they were in the backyard. I mean, they were there was a dead dog in her backyard. She believes it's a neighbor from down the street. I got the notice that I got to send a team down there. I told them I can't call them back. So what I did do is I got 2 guys that were on another team, and we went there. And about 1:10 in the morning, it's pitch dark. We went out there and we're looking around, and I was spreading. We had 3 cans of coffee cans of cayenne pepper, and we were spreading that around. And while we were looking through the area, and we had about a 6-foot log thrown at us, 6 foot by approximately 7 inches around. It did not hit us, but one of my guys, the tip of his toe hit it. I mean, it's pitch black out there, and we had lights and everything. Tip of his toe hit it. He went down, sprained his knee. But when we looked around that area, and we looked at the pictures that she was showing us, she had footprints and pictures of it. Hey, this is going to sound fantastic. I know your audience is going to say, yeah, sure. It wasn't dogmen. We found out that it was actually a Bigfoot, some kind of a Sasquatch in her area. And this thing, Josh, are you ready for this? 15 feet tall.
I believe, yeah.
That's where we measured. We measured the eyes on the tree to the branches that she showed us pictures of. And I said, well, that's it. We got to get out of here at this point. We got a guy down. He's injured. We got him out, and I gave it over to the researchers in the Adirondacks who do Bigfoot research, and they have teams over there, and they know how to handle things to help this lady because she just doesn't want to go to work anymore.
Yeah, Nick, we're losing your audio there. I don't know what's going on.
Uh-oh.
Let me
waiting on my end too.
Yeah. Let me call you right back, Nick.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me change it out. Today has been a bad day for the audio here. Yeah, we're having some problems. And now you sound good, but he doesn't. Folks, I'm going to say something about that too. Somebody just mentioned something, and I want to mention. I'm going to answer that question on there as soon as I get Nick back on, and then we're going to call up Barton and get him on here.
Good deal. Well, here's my.
Oh, sorry, Ryan, cut you off there. Get Nick back on.
Okay, is this any better?
Yeah. Let me put you through. I want to answer this question here. Okay, guys, I want to answer a question that somebody said. One cat. Speaking of cats, the Adirondacks and hold this thing. It's known for black cats too, like demonic black cats. I've heard stories of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It says 1 cat away from crazy midnight. I'm gonna answer this. It says two families, both in RVs, both have a little boy and a little girl. Encrypted shred both families within a short time after arriving at campsite. Listen to yourselves. Okay. I listen to myself all the time. I stand in front of the freaking mirror and practice. No, I'm just kidding. Let me tell you something, buddy. Okay. So 2 families, both in RVs, because a lot of people go out there and they camp, and a lot of people camp in RVs or they camp in tents. Okay. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. It says both have a little boy and a little girl. See, now that's the thing. The original story, there wasn't a little boy. Okay.
No,
Roger's,
there's a little girl.
There's a little girl. Roger's story added a little boy. Okay. So that right there means that there could easily be 2 different. Listen to yourself, sir. Okay. Listen to yourself, because you're not making sense, because you're not listening, and you obviously haven't heard the whole story. And you just jump on my podcast and say whatever, but I still love you and I'll send you a t-shirt. Okay. So anyway, it says, and little girl encrypted shred both families. Now that's another thing. Roger said these people weren't shredded, and there wasn't a little girl in the tree. The original story, there was a little girl that was impaled. That didn't happen, according to him. And then he said that they weren't shredded apart and there wasn't blood everywhere. They were just killed. And they weren't eaten or anything like that. They were just killed. Now you tell me that there's 2 different things going on. Obviously, there could easily be 2 different things going on. Okay, I'm going to tell you something that's going to sound silly, but I've knocked people unconscious, okay, and they've both fallen the same way, kind of weird and off to the side. It just happens, you know. They were 2 totally different people, you know. Didn't know.
Analogy there, Josh.
Pretty sure they didn't know each other, but they both fell the same way and had their eyes open still. So yeah, things can happen that way. All right, and I'm not threatening anybody. I'm just saying I'm just using that as an analogy because me and Nick were talking about fights earlier, but. It says here, This guy says here, Dylan Garrett, I saw a Dogman fight a rake. It played out almost exactly like Godzilla versus King Kong. So weird, man. Maybe I should write a book. Now, see, I don't know if you're being silly or funny or whatever, but if that did happen, it would probably look like Godzilla versus King Kong. The funny thing is, Dylan, is whether you're being facetious or you're being serious, we get stories like that all the time. Nick, me, Ryan.
I get reports every
all the
day.
time.
God.
Exactly. I mean, so you have no idea, and like the messenger just goes off all day long now, and I had my phone's on silent now constantly because of the messages I get, and then I get constant emails about stuff, and you got to sift through it, and you got to figure out what you're going to do. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. You can't even make it. It's like you have so many things to do, you do nothing. It's kind of like that with me. But Ryan, I wanted to say something. Now, your research on the devil monkey. You have like histories and stories and things like that. And I got in the encounters people had sent me. In your opinion, what Roger has said up to this point, do you believe that that could be what we're dealing with?
I absolutely do. Yeah. I mean, just the way that he was so fervent about the sketch too, that sketch just looks so much like a devil monkey.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to say it sounds more like devil monkeys in that case than Dogman. Yes.
Okay, so that leads me into we're gonna call Barton. So Nick, you and Ryan hang on, and we're gonna get Barton on here. I'm gonna call Barton, and I'm gonna get his take on this just real quick because when he was on the show, he didn't. We just talked about and it was all arguing and stuff. So hang on.
Okay.
We're gonna call Barton Nunley, and folks, his book Inhumanoids, he's autographing them for me. And he's going to send me a shipment of them. And folks, I'm going to be giving those away. Those are great books, and they're going to be autographed by Barton. So you guys got to stay tuned for that. Let me call Barton up. Hopefully he didn't.
Hello.
Hey, Barton.
Hey, how you doing, Josh?
Yeah, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man.
All right, I'm going to
It can be expected anyway.
Well, as good as can be
expected. It's been a rough week.
It has been, and it's only Tuesday. Believe
right.
me. Yeah. Let's patch you through. Hang on.
28.
Okay, so Nick, I want to introduce you formally to Barton Nunley. Barton, this is Nick Valente and Ryan Tremblay. Ryan, this is Barton, Ryan, and Barton Nick.
Hey, pleasure to meet you.
Barton, pleasure
to make y'all's acquaintance.
Yeah.
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
Very good.
See, somebody already said they want a book from you, Barton. See what you did? You come on the show and they automatically want you to give books. Now, I was telling everybody, I was bragging on you about your book, that Inhumanoids. It's probably one of my favorite books of all time.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that, Josh. I really do, man. It was a hard book to get published, I'll tell you that. To be thought so highly of. No publisher in the United States would touch that manuscript.
And you had to actually go out of the country to get it done, didn't you?
Right. Yeah, it was all. The only reason you can read that book now is because of my buddy Nick Redfern.
Yeah. Well, you
guys were talking about him earlier. I missed a lot of good conversation earlier about Nick and boxing. I'm sitting listening. I'm like, oh man, I've been a boxing fan since 1975, watching Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, one of my favorite fights from the 70s was Ken Norton when he broke Muhammad Ali's jaw.
Yeah.
And that Ken Norton, I have a buddy, his name is Arash, and he used to box with us years ago. And he's a very technical, tippy-toe fighter, kind of like Ken Norton. I always thought Ken Norton looked so uncomfortable and kind of gimpy the way but he would punch so hard,
Yeah.
God, he
had a really hard punch.
Oh, he was, man. I'll tell you what. I'm waiting for that Tyson Fury fight with Anthony Joshua. I can't wait. I'll tell you what, man. I'm ready.
Oh, my God.
Really?
You know what's going to happen there, right, Josh? Fury's going to knock Joshua slick out.
Tyson Fury,
especially if he loads his gloves up like he did against Deontay Wilder.
I don't think he did that.
Fury has no. Yes, he did. He
Barton, did you ever
crazy? It's about like the election, the election of Donald Trump.
No.
Oh yeah, Tyson Fury stole with Wilder's.
No politics.
Wilder's stuff.
No politics. And Wilder. Wilder. If you watch a interview between Tyson Fury and Wilder was like telling him he had voodoo and all this other stuff on his side, and Tyson Fury said, "I don't need all that." What did he say, Anthony? You want to get on the mic? What did he say? Anthony can tell you real quick, Barton, you'll get a kick out of this. When Tyson Fury,
I love boxing.
Yeah, like in a nutshell, they were doing like a pre-fight, like face-to-face sit down, and the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder was saying like basically that he channels ancestral spirits when he fights, and that like he's possessed by the Bronze Bomber, which is like his ancestral spirit alter ego or whatever. And you know, the whole time he's saying this, obviously it's meant to intimidate Tyson Fury, and Tyson's like, well then bring him out, because I don't want to talk to you. If I'm fighting him, then bring him out so I can talk to this ancestral spirit, because I don't need some other man to come inside me, or some spirit to come inside me to fight. All I need, my savior is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is my
That's
Lord
bizarre,
Savior.
yeah.
And that's all I need, and that's why I'm going to beat you. And you know, Deontay Wilder was kind of being mocking and dismissive of, you know, of his faith, and obviously he paid the price for it. So ancestral spirit or not, whatever, I guess I just decided to take the day off.
Yeah, they must have. Yeah. But I know one thing, I've never seen a boxing glove leave a dent on another boxer's head like Wilder had. Never have. It always looked like he'd been hit by, it looked like he fell into a corner or something. I'm like, oh man. That was a crazy fight. Crazy.
Barton, this is Nick. My favorite is the Ali Frazier fights. Those were like all time. I mean, my God, Frazier was just not stopping.
Yeah,
right. And well, I got my interest in boxing from my dad. My dad was a championship boxer, and you know, he always taught me lessons growing up, and which turned out, you know, that I needed them growing up, because you know I was the number one favorite for all the bullies in school, because I was poor, dirt poor, you know, had red hair. My name was Barton. So you can imagine the trouble I had, but I just retired all the bullies. My dad told me exactly how to do it, and I did it every time. By the time I got to high school, I never had a fight. I never even had an argument. There were no bullies left. So, but yeah, he gave me my love for boxing. I still carry that with me.
Oh yeah.
Just like a lot of things that, you know, he taught me, and our dads teach us, you know. So we're all just pale shadows of our fathers in many ways, you know.
I'm not.
So, but I want to say something really quick, Josh. I want to say prayers for your mom, Mary Ann.
Thank you.
And I want to say prayers for my buddy Johnny and Elijah Henderson. They just lost their wife, and
mother.
My heart is really broken for them. And, you know, we were making plans, all of us, just to get together in a few weeks to go creek walking, so I could teach my wife and I could teach April how to find an Indian arrowhead in a creek. And it all happened so suddenly, and then it's just, I don't know. It's hard to get over. And I've never met Johnny or April, but we've become really good friends in the last few months, and. That's
the question. I mean, like, okay.
Okay, before you question me, Josh, let me just say this. I have to correct you on one thing.
Okay.
In the original story, as told by Jan Thompson, in my book, Mysterious Kentucky, there was a young boy and a young girl.
So, there was.
Now, if that's the original story, if that's what everybody's calling the original story, I was the first one down there to talk to Jan and do a sketch of the things she saw and get the story straight. I was talking to Jan in 2005. So I don't know of anyone that's been there before that or wrote anything about it. So if that's the original story that everyone's talking about, there was a young boy and a young girl.
See, there's a story that's made the rounds, and I don't know, Ryan, Nick, Barton, if you guys have heard this, that there was just a little girl. It was.
No, I haven't heard that. No.
Yeah, I've heard that one pretty often. So that's why I was confused.
Yeah, I was confused too, because I thought that's what that was, and I thought maybe this could be two different things. You know, maybe because, you know, I'll be real honest. When I talk to Roger, you know, he seems credible. I mean, he's very calm. You know, he doesn't sound like somebody who's blowing smoke. But the thing is, you know, and Barton, me and Nick talked about this earlier. There's no way to really know, because you know we are not looking him in the eye, as you say, Barton, and we're not able to sit down with him other than talk to him on through the internet or on the phone. There's no way. None of us were there, you know.
Right. And we can't read his body language, you know. But I can tell you one thing, Josh. I lived with pathological liars for 45 years of my life.
Wow.
I know how they talk. They all talk the same. It doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman. They all have tales that let you know that they're not being honest with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I tried when I talked to Roger on Johnny's podcast, even though I was suffering from lack of sleep, from staying up to 12 on yours the night before, and I had to go to work at 5. I tried my best to trip Roger up. I purposely said things that weren't right, and he corrected me every time instantaneously. Okay, I give him space in between the questions because pathological liars love to embellish their story. Just give them a little space, and they'll embellish away. But he never changed a single aspect of his story. He answered every question immediately, and when I said something that was contrary to his story, he corrected me immediately. So I can tell you this. I've been fooled by regular liars before, but a pathological liar, no. They can't fool me. I know them too well. And Roger, I would bet the farm and every blade of grass on my farm, if I had one, that Roger's telling the truth. So he believes everything that he says. Now, whether that's true or not, that's another story, because you talk about these lie detector tests. Oh, Roger wouldn't take a lie detector test. That's because they're inadmissible in court. And do you know why? Because they're so easy to fool. All the liar has to do to fool a lie detector test is believe what he's saying. Right? That's all you have to do. If you believe what you're saying is true, the lie detector test will come up as true. So this is a TV show, for Pete's sake. So he decided he didn't want to take a test for just anybody, but he would take one for that TV show. And the thing of it is, they're not doing, real life investigations. They want viewers, they want ratings. So if he took the test and it came back in a negative light, casting Roger's story in a negative light, you would never hear about it. They wouldn't use it. They would use it if it came back inconclusive or that he was telling the truth. But if it came back negatively, it would never appear on the show.
Another thing I wanted to ask, and Nick, you tell me this because, I want to know your opinion on this. And this is a question kind of geared toward you. And Ryan, you and Barton, feel free to chime in, but I want to hear what Nick says first. If he's lying, okay, wouldn't he have played more of a hero role in what happened? Instead, he admitted that he was a coward and he hid. And I mean, he didn't do anything really to save these people.
Well, not necessarily, because he does say that he took a shot and he hit the one dog man in the rear shoulder.
But it didn't really stop it, though. I mean,
no, birdshot's not going to stop. It's not going to stop you or I. Technically, depending on where it hits you. The best thing would be it hits you in the face. Now, I don't know how to say this, and hopefully you can help chime in with me, because I want to answer what Barton was saying. Remember, there were maybe the guy truly believes what he's saying. I mean, sociopaths do that, and it's very, very hard to trip up a sociopath. I mean, right. in my years in law enforcement, and I've been to the FBI Academy for their interview and interrogation courses, and these guys are some of the best. And they pass the test every time, I bet. Yeah, they actually do. and what the sociopath also does is they are so friendly. They're actually antisocial, but they're so friendly that they try to draw you in. Like, come over here, young lady. This hot-looking 21-year-old. Come over here, young lady. Let me talk to you and tell you all about the world. And then next thing you know, she's in the back of his van and he's cutting her up and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I'm not calling anybody that. I'm just saying that's the type of personality that can.
Yeah,
actually,
you're right. And I can say that I can attest to Nick what you're saying, because I'm a hot guy and I get people all the time trying to lure me into their cars. And I'm like, no, go away. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I do too.
It does. Barton, yeah, I know. It's a curse. Ryan's told me all about it. We got the same problem.
Yeah, man. Every single day.
Anyway, Nick, you're absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct in what you just said. There are sociopathic people. Folks, I have a pass, okay, and I'm not going to get into a deep, dark discussion about that. Just going to tell you right now, I've dealt with people that were in the underworld, that were and they could sit across from you and eat dinner, and they could look at you and tell you the gruesome things they've done, and they don't care. They don't give a crap.
They don't care one bit.
Nothing there. You can look in their eyes, and they look like a doll's eyes, like they say in Jaws. It's like the shark eyes. People used to tell me that my eyes were like that, and it's like, yeah, I have dark eyes, but I have emotion. I have feeling. I'm not someone that would just wantonly hurt an innocent person, but I've known people that could do that. They could go in, they could be sent there to like a money collector and just go into a house and do anything to anybody and not feel anything, any remorse or nothing. Then they go eat a sandwich, and then go to sleep. That's the kind of people they are. And some of these people even had families that they would love and care for and whatever, and then go out and do the horrible things they did, and then come back and be like, oh, little Johnny and little Susie and whatever, good night, and then go to bed after they did all these horrible things. And you're just looking at them going like, how can these, it blows my mind. I don't know how they can be the way they are. But, you're absolutely correct. Now, here's the other question, though, Nick. Do you, from what you've heard with Roger, do you feel like that's what he's doing? Like he's that way? I mean, because I don't get that feeling, but then again, it's hard to know.
Without speaking to him face to face, I'm not going to call him a liar, but I do have some questions about his story that just don't make sense to me. With my police background, number one, and just being on this earth all the years that I've been here. And that's why I'd like to actually save it to speak with him about it. But, far be it from me. Like I said, anything's possible. I don't think there's two different incidences. I think there was just the one. And
I do too, Nick. I agree with that.
Yeah, Barton, I've been down to LBL, and I know there's two graveyards down there. I've tried to find the exact spot years past. Years ago, I spoke to a gentleman whose grandfather was one of the deputies there. And I spoke to the man, and he also said that, they went there and that it was 4 people, and he didn't expand upon any more than that. But yeah, there was 4 people there, not 3. There was definitely 4.
Yeah.
I personally believe that this is the only incident. Now, another cryptozoologist researcher out there in the Sasquatch field has said that he believes that a person that he spoke to had told him there was a similar incident in 1972, and he believed that's the incident. But from what I understand, it was in 1983. Barton, did you also hear that?
Well, you're not talking about Roger's story, right? But the one.
I'm just talking about LBL, the one
the general story.
Yeah,
so Nick, I've been told by various individuals of at least 3 or 4 alleged murders taking place there, and one is while I was interviewing Jan, an acquaintance of hers called up, and he was deathly ill on his deathbed, and she said, "Here, Bart, he just asked to talk to you," and he told me a story that happened in 1976 where some other people were killed there that he'd found himself personally. So I don't discount anything. I don't know.
No,
all I can tell you, Nick and Ryan and Josh, is I've been down there over and over again, me and my wife, at all hours of the night, walking those trails, and tried every technique I can think of, and we've never heard or seen anything. We always had just a great time, and it was just, I was never scared. I'm not scared of the woods or anything, even though, I have a lot of bad experiences with Bigfoot back in the 70s, but never let it scare me. We always just go out and be ourselves, and nothing ever happened at Land Between Lakes. So I'll be the first to admit that I don't know one single fact about the beast of LBL other than what someone else has told me. Now, why should I not give Roger the same chance that I gave Jan Thompson 15 years ago? If I would have came up to Jan Thompson and said, "Hey, look, everybody knows werewolves don't exist. What's this bull crap you're spreading about these people getting killed? Nobody believes that crap. Go ahead and tell me." She would probably hit me over the head with a purse. Every time I question a witness, it's a nice, peaceful, friendly talk. It's not an interrogation. It's not anything but what it is. I'm trying to get information that someone is putting out. I'm trying to record it. I'm trying to get a feel for the person. I'm looking at them. I'm seeing how, if they fidget, if they look me in the eyes when they tell me something, or when I ask a question, or their body language, the intonation in their voice, the inflection of their voice. All these things tell me whether I'm speaking to someone that's true or false. So without ever having seen Roger, I can only say that I've spoken to him for about 6 hours now. I'm sure Josh has talked to him a lot longer than that. I think he's telling the truth. That's my opinion. Josh, I want to ask you, don't sit on the fence. You've talked to Roger a lot, probably more than I have. What do you think of Roger's story? Do you think he's legit, or do you think he's lying?
Well, it's like anybody else that's in this roundtable we're having right here. I can't say without looking him in the eye. But if I had to pick one side or the other, he sounds believable. But it's all relative. I mean, if there's people that can sound believable. A used car salesman can sound believable and then you buy a lemon and you get out on the road and then it breaks down and you got to go back and bust their head open.
Right. Exactly.
That last part, I'm just joking, but seriously.
No, I'm not. Seriously. No, it's happening to me.
No, just kidding. They can sell you a lemon. I mean, I'm telling you. So
sure. You're
either dealing with a guy, okay, who is really, really good at telling a story that just sounds really believable. And I want to mention something here, and this has to do with me. I'm not deflecting. I want to add to this. Janice Blake, she says here in the chat, he wouldn't take the chance to say he was threatened either. If he was lying, he would have jumped on the men in black threatening his life. That's one of the things that I thought. Now, why would he not, if he was lying, completely lying, and and what you said, Barton, about how people tend to embellish, and then when they're telling their story, then every time they tell it, it changes and it gets bigger, and they're like, oh, they were 10 giants and they were big and they were,
Right.
He didn't do that with me. And then he also, on here it says here, if he would have jumped on the men in black threatening his life, why didn't he do that? Why didn't he sensationalize it? Why didn't he jump on there were all these men, the helicopters were coming, and and they whisked me away, and and whatever. And then the most important thing would have been like, now you keep your mouth shut, you don't say nothing, boy. We'll this and that. And I was threatened. That's why I never spoke for 40 years. That would have been something you would have jumped on, right? I mean, in y'all's opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in on this right here. Actually, maybe he didn't embellish it too much because he wanted it to seem very believable. Sometimes when writing a story, you do have to be careful how much you embellish. The more you embellish, the less believable it's going to be. And maybe he's one of those story writers that, he knew the minimal was the best, that the minimal detail would make it more of a story you could sink your teeth into, no pun intended. But, if he added the Men in Black, if he tried to add that he was the hero and he made them like 20 feet tall, it's not going to be as believable as...
Your audio is going real out. You're making some good points, Ryan, but your audio is bad.
Right. I understand what Ryan's trying to say.
Yeah.
But if I was a creative writer, I think I could have done a little bit better job of writing that story than Roger's trying to do. It's pretty simple and to the point, right? And it never changes. He never contradicts himself. You can hear the original interview, and then you can hear him talk on the podcast that I did with you and Roger and Jody, and then you can hear me talking to him on Johnny's podcast, and he never contradicts himself a single time.
Right.
So that's, to me, that's a mark in his favor. That's just like Jan. Jan never contradicts herself. And I sat there and I looked at her eyes, and she was telling me about the story, about the kids getting killed. And she started crying and everything. So even though my partner thought she was just lying and full of it, I believed Jan. I believed her story. And it caused a lot of friction between my partner and I. And eventually we parted ways. But Jan, he was so hard on her, and I always regretted this, but he was so hard on her, she just left the community, and she didn't want any more part of it because, what good can come from telling a story like that if it's not true? The only thing that can come is ridicule and negativity.
He is lying. I mean, I want to believe it too. I really want to believe he's telling the truth, but we do have to look at it from all angles.
Sure, right. That's what we do as investigators. We keep an open mind. And we try to reason out what's going on, what's being said, and that's just how it has to be done. You can't really,
right?
You can't do it any other way and expect to get reliable, truthful information.
I'm in places you guys, I can't really say he's lying or telling the truth unless I meet him face to face and see his body language.
Right.
Yeah.
Until then, I'm with you guys on the fence going, I hope he's telling the truth. I want him to be telling the truth.
Another thing I wanted to mention, and this seems to be kind of muddying the waters quite a bit too. Somebody just mentioned that Victor, the werewolf hunter, this was on Jeff's show, and I just want to mention that right now. I personally do not believe any of that. So Victor, the werewolf hunter, killed one, and then there was another one that was killed by a government agent and all that. I'm not a subscriber to any of that stuff. I just don't. Please, I wish these people would stop with that. You know, what was that, Ryan?
I'm not going to throw shade here at Jeff, but something to keep in mind, guys, is he was a creepypasta writer.
Yeah, he was.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, what Ryan just said was he was a creative writer, and he did like voice acting or something like that. And it's like we're not trying to put him down, but the whole thing that came up with the government agent and all that, I've gotten so many questions about that stuff. And some of the things that have been said, I mean, like it was like me and Ryan did a spot on Whisper to a Scream podcast about the was it the Port Chatham, wasn't it, Ryan?
Yep.
And then the next thing you know, he was making a story about that, and I'm going like, what? You know, like, come on, dude. This Victor thing is just, I mean, everybody's jumping on Roger about him, whatever, but nobody's questioning this Victor dude. Like nobody's questioning this guy. Like, he's going around saying that he's a government agent. He's killed all these werewolves and all these dogmen and all this other baloney. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, this guy just, what do you think of that? That's crazy. I think it's ridiculous. And I don't even know Jeff Nunnelly personally, but Jeff, if you're out there listening, I think your guy is a fraud. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I don't know you if you're in on it or what's going on, but I hope that you wouldn't be, or this guy's fooling you. But I mean, everybody's focused in on Roger for saying what he said, but this other storyline has just gotten it's way out of hand. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Like, and this werewolf hunter is going around killing people. And then I had some lunatic send me a message saying that they were coming after me because I was a werewolf, and I'm like, oh really? Okay, so Victor, I hope Victor doesn't kill me. Oh my god. But it's gotten so out of hand with all this crap, I mean, I'm just so tired of it,
Yeah, so 98% of it is just what you said, is crap.
Yeah.
But I did want to make sure that I mentioned that, because I know some of your viewers had questions the first time I was on the show about Jan. She is still alive and well, and she just disappeared from public life, but she never disappeared from our friendship, right? And I talk to her frequently, and she's really a nice lady. And I think a lot of her. And
you have
she's alive and well.
You have the only surviving videos of do you want to expound on that a little bit?
Sure. Well, we went down there and we did an interview with Jan, and it's the only interview that she's ever done on video.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have 8 copies of this DVD Hunt the Dogman that I did with Grindel Films, which is the guy that eventually ended up running Jan off from public life. But I have 8 copies of this video, and it's also got interviews with Linda Godfrey and my own mother, who saw Dogman when she was 10, wearing a shirt, and an interview with Jan, of course. And it's really it's interesting for the content. It wasn't really a well-made documentary, but it was, it's interesting for the content. And I'm trying to auction these off so I can help my buddy Johnny Henderson. And I would like to get as much money as I can for them, because they really need the help. They're going to
need it for the burial of April,
right? And it's terrible. And I'll do everything that I can to help Johnny.
Yeah.
So if anybody's interested, just DM me at your bid, and the auction ends Friday night. You can bid on either one copy or the whole lot of 8. Whichever one makes the most money for Johnny and his family, that's the one that I'll go with. I would love, for everybody to have a copy. Anyone interested in any of my other works, but I don't sell books and I don't sell DVDs. And these were given to me as payment for 10 years of this video being on Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Which the video that's up there now, I've been told, is not the original Hunt the Dogman video, since we had a parting of ways. The Grindel Films, the head of that. I'm not going to mention his name. You can look it up. Whatever. I'm not going to throw shade on anyone. That's not my intention. But he edited out a lot of the parts that he thought weren't, I guess, worthy of his film credit. So Jan's was one of the ones that got edited out.
Oh, wow.
I think my mother's, I think he edited out just everything but the bare essentials of that that work. And it really encompassed a lot more than just the LBL. It talked a lot about the Spotsville Monster as well, which was happened to my family in 1975. I also want to say Jan Thompson, she was told this story by someone else, two police officers, she claims.
Okay.
But that just takes up a little piece of my book. The most of the chapters are other encounters. One of these things actually attacked her family, and she saw it in broad daylight, and that's how she was able to work with me to get this sketch. And she was very meticulous about every detail, and we had to do it over email. But it took me weeks of, just like a police sketch artist. She explained to me what it looked like, and I started with a loose sketch, and then I would send her the picture, and she would send me back instructions to change this or change that. The nose is not right. The ears are too small, and details like that. And I finally got it, and she said, "That's it right there. That's what I saw." Now that's the exact same reaction that Roger had when he saw that sketch. You were talking about the Gugway sketch or the Devil Monkey sketch that he had first picked. So he had scoured the internet, I guess, and that was the closest that he'd seen, on the internet to what he'd actually seen in real life, until he saw that sketch, that witness sketch of Jan Thompson's. And you can listen to his reaction on Johnny Henderson's Cryptid Institute channel, and his reaction was really kind of stunned me, because he said, "Wow, that's exactly what I saw. The other picture was close, but this is exactly what I saw." So, according to Roger and Jan, that's the true face of the beast of LBL. It does not look like a monkey. It does not look like a cat.
It looks like a werewolf.
It looks like a wolf.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And it's got the black eyes. Is that what you're talking about?
Black, round. Yeah. Round, close,
Barton,
close set black eyes, right?
I think you posted it on your Facebook page, right?
Right.
Okay. If you could do me a favor, and I can take it off of there, but I mean, if you could post that on Paranormal Round Table group page, people could see that. And when the show's over or whenever, and you can, so people can take a look and they can see what that is. So that's interesting. So then, okay, so Ryan, that goes back to us talking about it being a possible devil monkey. If Roger is to be believed, then this thing is more wolf-like.
Right, which would then be a dog man. It'd be safe to say.
Yeah. But not. Now, have you seen the picture, Ryan? Because you. Okay. Here's the thing, Barton. The thing all four of us have in common is that we've all seen one. Okay.
No, I've never seen one. I've never seen a dog man.
I thought you did. I thought you'd seen one.
No, I've seen about everything that you can possibly see, Josh, but I've never seen a dog man.
I thought you did.
The Spotsville incident, there was a dog man or dog men sharing the same area with Bigfoot. So our family was seeing the Bigfoot type creatures, but the guy that was really the main witness in the Spotsville encounters, he saw the dog man. And I drew a witness sketch for him as well. And that's I guess I could post that to your page too. But it looks a lot like the beast of LBL.
Do you think maybe as far as Roger goes, though, the description kind of changed due to trauma? I mean, more details.
I beg your pardon, Ryan. Can you repeat that question, please?
Yeah, sure. As far as Roger goes and the description that he gave, do you suppose maybe the details changed due to trauma? Maybe as he's more accepting of coming out with this story, the less severe the trauma is for him, so he's starting to remember more. Do you think that's possible at all?
Well, I can tell you this. He was 15 years old. He wasn't a little kid. Mm-hmm. If I saw something like this at 15 years old, especially if I saw something kill two people, I would remember it like it was yesterday for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And the memories wouldn't change. And that's...
Barton, what you're talking about, I'm sorry if I jumped in a little early, but I got to say something. I was 15 when I saw what I saw. My story's never changed. The guy I saw it with, now he's a preacher in my hometown. His story's never changed. He's talked to multiple people, that I know in my personal life. And that story has never changed. And that is something that you will remember for the rest of your life. I was 15 years old, and it was
the image never changes. The image of what you saw never changes in your mind. It doesn't get somehow transformed as time goes by. It's something, you see things of this nature, you never forget.
Nick, let me ask you this. You're being kind of quiet there.
I'm listening to you guys.
I have a question for you, though. Now, hearing us talk about it and hearing Barton tell, because I knew I had to get Barton on because he can do a lot more, a lot more in depth or whatever. When you're hearing this, okay, now to you, what you believe? Do you think that that's even that he even saw something, that this guy's even or because like we're talking about, it could be a devil monkey or it could be something that looked more dog like or wolf like, something more primate like. You're of the opinion that this never happened at all, or that he wasn't involved. Is that correct?
I swear, I wish I could look at him face to face and talk to him, because I generally, because of my background and all the years I've done things with people and spoke to people, interviewed people, it's the inflection in your voice, and it's also the movements. And there's certain movements that I can see when I'm looking at a person. Now I'm no super expert, but I've been trained in it and I've used it throughout my lifetime. It's just that I like I said, I just don't want to give it away now. I have some questions I want to ask him, but there's a lot to the story that just does not make sense to me. And also, like I said, anybody can talk calmly and not change their tone, pitch or tone. They could be taking something, for a medical purpose. I know I have a friend of mine that has to take something, and he is not animated anymore. He's just straight, not monotone, but totally calm all the time. I mean, you could tell him that the building is on fire, and he's going to go, okay, well, let's just walk out the front door. It's people can do that, and there's different types of people. I would just like to, hold at bay my questions for now for Roger, because I don't want him to get prepared, because people can prepare themselves for a story and say that story over and over and over. I know a lot of people that have photographic memories that can do that. I'm not saying one way or another. It's just there's just some things that just don't make sense to me, and that's why I just like to talk to him. And like I said, I'm not going to call him a liar. I'm not going to say anything like that. I'm not going to be rude. That's not me. But I tend to see things in black and white. And like I said, some things just don't make sense.
And you being from the NADP, okay, and,
right.
and not to be controversial here, but obviously not everyone in your organization has taken the same stance. And I've actually spoken to a couple people who don't, but we all know that there is certain people that do not, absolutely just do not believe this guy and do not want to even hear him say anything.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But you're not in that camp. You're not, you're saying right now that you're not, that's not you.
Well, here's my third time saying it, and I hope people don't get tired of it, but my mantra is to prove or disprove. And, until I can actually, prove it one way or another to myself, at least, I'm not in any camp. I'm going to say it's a possibility that it could have happened that way. But there's just a lot of inconsistencies, because I actually have on my computer the original interview that he gave to those two gentlemen originally. And I went through it point by point. And like I said, there's a bunch of inconsistencies that I just don't agree with. And there's also some things that I've heard before. So, just going to have to go from there, Josh. Just going to have to go from there. I'm not a person that's going to say, no, you're lying. Oh, you're a bum, this or that. No, not at all. Not at all. I can't prove it or disprove it.
And so, but you can also say that the NADP as an organization is not against Roger.
No, we're absolutely not against Roger. I mean, there are people out there that say, oh, Bigfoot, Sasquatch doesn't exist. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think they do. I haven't seen one yet. but I think they do. You know, so are they going to call me a liar? You know, it's just my opinion.
Yeah, and
there are people out there that say, "Oh, no, he's lying," but I can't. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. No, not yet.
That's very respectful of you, Nick, and
it's just wrong. I was brought up that way.
I'm 100% sure that Roger can answer. I'd love to know what your questions are, but I understand that you want to save them for him. Mm-hmm. I'm 100% sure that Roger would have no problem answering any of your questions. And I would love to listen to the show if you guys can ever do one, you know, and to hear you ask those questions.
It'll be a totally cordial show, and, you know.
Right. I found no inconsistencies in his stories. None.
You know?
Sure, there's questions, but no inconsistencies with what he's telling from time to zero. Yeah. That's just me. You know, I've been doing this since 1985. I'm 55 years old, and I retired a couple of years ago when all this started. Started with a phone call from a producer, and it all just kind of blew up from there. You know.
Yeah.
That's how it started. So
I talked to Roger.
Barton, just real quick, Barton, I have your book Inhumans on my Kindle, and I intend to add that to the other 27 that I'm behind reading right now.
Oh, thanks, Nick. I appreciate that.
I'm sorry, Josh. Go ahead.
No. That's awesome. And, you know, guys, Barton's. You know, I wish I could buy every copy of that. You know, of that book, and just give them out to all my listeners, man. Because
I do too. I would give out. You know, I don't make money doing this stuff. Yeah. I don't do it for money.
It's funny that people think
I would,
do.
If I could, I would give everybody a book that wanted one. I would just sign it up and send it right on through the mail. But obviously, I can't. I'm actually probably the only author in America that does not have a single copy of his books or any of his works. They're just not. You know, it's 1% of my life. My life is so much more than this unexplained stuff, and you know, everybody they want a copy, and they're asking me, can I get a copy from you? I'm like, I'm sorry, no, I don't sell them. But if you buy one from Amazon and send it to me with a self-addressed stamped envelope, I'll be happy to sign it for you for free.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing I was going to say, I did talk to Roger this morning. Like, he messaged me early and said he was planting, and because yesterday he said that he was going to try and see if he could come on, and he was like, sure, I'll come on. You know, he had no problem to talk to Nick. I explained to him who you were, Nick, and what you did, and he was like, absolutely, I would love to come on and talk to him. We are going
he's totally unafraid to talk to anyone.
Yeah, he absolutely welcomed it. I mean, you know,
so Nick should know that's another chalk mark for him.
Yeah.
So most pathological liars, they lie on the spur of the moment, and you know, and they don't set up interviews. I've never met one that was like Roger. I mean, all I can say is I believe him. I would like to believe him more if I ever do get to sit down in front of him and look at him in his eyes and have him tell me his story. Mm-hmm. But I right now I get the feeling that he's really sincere, and that's based on 35 years of interviewing hundreds and hundreds of people, and a lot of them were lying. I can tell you that.
That, you know, and that says a lot, because you backing him and saying, hey, this guy, I believe he's telling the truth. You're putting your reputation, Barton, as a researcher.
No, I have no reputation, Josh.
No, you do. You have a reputation. It's a good one.
I don't care anything about any reputation.
You're putting all that out there, and you're saying, hey, you know, this guy's telling the truth. That says a lot.
Because that's what I feel. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that says a lot.
I'm not doing that. I don't see how my name could bring any kind of credence at all to anyone's story. I'm just a simple guy, you know, and I've been doing this a long time, sure, but I'm not trying to be famous like my other friends. You know, they've achieved some type of fame or celebrityism, but I'm not about any of that. So I just want the truth. Whatever it is, if I've been wrong, I want to know. If I've been right, that would be nice to know too. I have no problem with saying, hey, I was wrong about this, and changing my belief system.
Yeah. And that's how it happens. I mean, if like earlier, I was chastising this guy in the comment section, and I was like, look, dude, the original story was that there was no little boy; it was only a little girl. And Ryan, I think we both thought that. I'm glad that I'm glad you were on here to look stupid with me. But you know, I mean,
so you can read that. You can read everything Jan said in Mysterious Kentucky.
Cool.
And not only that, her other encounters are pretty bizarre too. You know, of course, there's nothing so sensational as somebody getting murdered.
Yeah.
Because as far as I know, that's never been reported before to this degree. But she had a lot of interesting stories.
I know this. I mean, like if somebody, like we've talked about, if somebody's lying, it's very hard to discern that, you know, just by talking to them on the phone. But the conversations I had with Roger, and I talked to Roger yesterday on the phone, and you know, and when he talks to me, he sounds like a very country person.
And he's a Christian. Let's say that. I mean, anybody can say they're a Christian. But
anybody could say that, you know. But he sounds very. I mean, like I said, he sounds sincere. You know, I know that there are people out there who are dead set against him, and there's multiple people, and they're very vocal. I'm very vocal about it. But he why would you come out and just say all this, knowing that you're going to take all this heat and take all this, you know, anguish?
Yeah, I don't know, Josh. It doesn't make sense because there's no money to be made in this. I mean, anyone that's been in this field for over a year can tell you, you have to spend your own money to do anything you want to do, and it's a return that never happens. You never get a return on that money.
Amen to that.
Tens of thousands of dollars in gas money, and that's just riding around in the state of Kentucky. I can't imagine how much money Nick spent vanning all over the world. I'm sure he hasn't made that money back.
No, I don't make money at this. I make my own money in a different way, and this is totally for the love of cryptozoology. And
that's me too.
You make me laugh because the guy that showed me the chupacabra body over in Mexico. I mean, he got $20 out of me just to look at the body, and then another 20 when I asked him if he would cut open the goat that was killed by the chubi. And you know, it was like, you know, I'm glad I had a guy there with me, a good friend of mine who could speak Spanish, because I didn't understand what the guy was getting at, but he just wanted the bucks. Yeah. But yeah, I tell you, you don't. I'm way in a hole on that. I'd probably be a millionaire by now if I'd never spent a dime on this.
Me too, Nick. You know, when I was younger, I thought, well, if I could just be a writer like Lauren Coleman. So he's read Mysterious America, and that was really the catalyst that made me decide to share my experience with others. But not only that, to go around and collect these stories from others. And I've always been so poor, I could never afford to do that. So everything that I've ever accomplished, what little I have, I've accomplished in my spare time on zero funds. So I can, you know, it would be great if I had money to go everywhere and just check out all the mysteries that I'm really interested in, but I never did. So I just stayed here in Kentucky and concentrated on these, and that's more than enough. Kentucky is so bizarre sometimes. It has
the cave
such
system,
an unending wealth of unexplained phenomena that goes on here, and not just with Dogman or Bigfoot. You have UFOs, you have aquatic anomalies, you know, ghosts everywhere. I've lived in haunted houses, and, you know, myself, and they're pretty scary. And I've also lived in haunted houses and had Bigfoot encounters and UFO sightings in the same location. So they're all connected. And if you've been in this for 30 or 40 years, you should know by now that one dot leads to another. And all you have to do is follow the dots to the truth, and you'll see that all these things are connected in some way or other. There is no chance. It's impossible. It's an impossibility that you live in a house that's haunted and look out your window and see ghosts and UFOs and Black Panthers. It's too incredible to happen, you know.
Yeah, if they were all separate phenomena, if
they're unrelated,
odds, you know, what are the odds?
The odds are impossible.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, not very many people see a Bigfoot in their life. Maybe what, 1%?
You look at Kentucky, though; it's built on the caves. I mean, I sound like a crazy person. Okay, and I'm not gonna talk Alex Jones here, because I actually know Alex. He used to have my friend had a show that used to come on cable access right before him, and he would always be in the hallway, you know, real loud, and so I don't want to sound, you know, conspiratorial, and I'm not knocking Alex. If anybody's an Alex fan, I don't have an opinion about him one way or the other. But anyway, I don't want to sound like a crazy person and repeat myself all the time. But the inner earth, I believe that some of these things come from the inner earth. I mean, everybody thinks it's nuts, and they're like, "Oh, you're crazy for believing that." But dude, why is it that the cave systems have so many? Where the cave systems are, it tends to be where a lot of these anomalies show up. Okay,
right. I've often postulated that these Bigfoot and other creatures could live underground and disappear back underground if they're flesh and blood. That's a real viable option. And so the Mammoth Cave system is the largest cave system. It used to be in the world. I don't know if they found any larger than that, but definitely the largest in the United States, with over 400 miles of underground passageways that radiate out.
I can only imagine.
Like,
I mean,
and so nobody knows. Nobody knows what's down there, and it's a possibility. So I've often postulated that perhaps maybe these things actually originate from Mammoth Cave and just spread out across the country, wherever else they want to go.
or it's one of the openings there. I want to say something about on this thread here. One cat away from Crazy Midnight. It says, Josh, by the way, I'm not a guy. I'm a proud female. I'm sorry if did I mention that you were a guy. I wasn't trying to offend or whatever. I was simply apologizing to you for kind of going on a rant about how it's not out of the realm of possibility that it could be two separate incidences. And I will say this, I don't care what Nick or Barton or Ryan or anyone else tells me. I'm very hard-headed, so I'm going to believe what I want to believe. So that's it.
Most people do. No matter what.
I don't care what the evidence says. I'm going to look at it and go, I don't believe that, and I'm going to do what I want to do. Because that's what a lot of people do. I mean, you could literally show them math. It's 4 + 4, and they're like, I don't get it. How are you doing this again? And that's what a lot of people do. I mean, they're set in their absolute way, and that's it. Now, I'm man enough to sit up here and say I was wrong earlier on the show. And Ryan, I'm glad you were, like I said, we were both stupid. And so it wasn't just me, but we thought that there was another, and so the story has gone around so much that it's changed. I mean, you're going like, okay, maybe this is two different things, Right. So I guess maybe we can throw that part out. Maybe we can say, okay, so it's not two separate ends. At least we got that far, but we still have this issue of a guy that comes out of nowhere after 40 years and says, hey, this is what happened. This is my truths, and then the whole internet, just erupts and everybody's arguing and fighting about it. They were talking about
sad.
it. Another
really.
dog. Yeah, it is. I mean, there was another Dogman group that I was in earlier, and somebody got on there and just started up about it, and it was just like boom, 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 and there it goes. And so it is what it is. And then you have people stoking the flames, and I'm not going to mention names, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's a couple guys out there right now who are literally really, really starting to tick me off because you're going back and forth. You're going, and Roger told me this yesterday. You're shadowing him. You're basically everywhere he shows up, anywhere in social media or anything at all that he does, whether it's a YouTube comment or whatever, you're showing up and you're pestering him and you're bugging him. And then you're going back and you're agitating, this other guy who's very dead set against Roger. Okay. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. I want to get into a big dissertation because, I'm not going to talk about them, but you're agitating these people, and then you do it on my thread on the Paranormal Round Table group. I don't appreciate that. People are allowed with free speech. You can, to type whatever you want within the realm of Facebook, police, whatever. You can say what you want if you believe that way. And then I have people telling me what to take down on my page. Okay, telling me that these comments were offensive. This guy needs to be. And one lady, I got into it with her, and we went back and forth. And it was like, you don't come on and tell me that I need to remove that post. Okay, because there was negative comments being made, because it is a heated subject, and people it's a galvanizing subject. People are believing one way or the other. It's not my job to go on there and you said something I don't agree with and pull it out, because some of the things that were said, I didn't agree with it. I did not agree with it. I'm going but my belief is I am a First Amendment person. And I'm not going to censor people. I'm not going to, I believe the way I believe, and I believe that everybody should have the right to say what they believe, and Nick, you have your opinion. Ryan, you have your opinion. And of course, Barton, you have your opinion, and I encourage everyone, when the show is over, when you get the chance to go to the Cryptid Studies Institute and the show that Barton did. They even called it the Round Table. They stole the name of it, so I will be suing you guys later. But we're going to talk about that right now. Just kidding, dude. Seriously, you can call it whatever you want, But they called it a roundtable discussion because that's what it was, and it was Barton talking to Roger. Okay, and now anybody that wants to go in the Cryptid Studies Institute, I'm telling you, they have a lot of good stuff. And they're not paying me to promote them. And this isn't, this is me being honest. I sat there one day and I started watching some of their videos. Next thing you know, I'm 6 videos in. I'm going like, whoa, I've been looking at these people for, hours.
Right, that's like me. Yeah, that's just like me. And the thing is, Johnny and Elijah's integrity is unimpeachable. They are real, true, solid, sincere people, and they don't, they don't deserve to be overlooked because they're the ones that brought Roger out. And Roger, he scoured the internet for no telling how long, Josh, and he picked these people to come out to it when he could have picked thousands of other people. He couldn't pick me because I don't have a website or anything like that. But he could have picked anyone. But instead he picked Johnny and Elijah, and that says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Says a lot. And
another
when
thing,
the network asked me who I wanted to work with down in LBL for this project, I said Johnny and Elijah Henderson and Mark Maycheck. Those are my 2 people that I would like to be on board with this because, they're my kind of people.
And another thing too, and I asked Roger this myself personally. I was like, he told me, he told you, he's told the people that he's talked to why he chose them. Okay. And he could have chosen a larger podcast. He could have chosen a larger venue to voice what he was wanting to voice if he was trying to be seen. Let me give you an example, folks. Nobody has talked about this. Why didn't he go to Dogman Encounters? Vic Cundiff has 75,000 people that listen to his shows. I know because if you go to my episodes, there's like 169,000 views on one of them. I don't know one of those, go on there and he could have been like, hey, Vic, I want to tell the story of the LBL. And Vic Cundiff, I guarantee you, would have put him on, and it would have been, a ratings bonanza, and then this guy would have been shot into the stratosphere, and he would have been on a TV show the next day. Nobody's talked about that. Nobody has said that. Am I the only person who's thinking that? I don't know if anybody else is. I could have had a V8. You know what I mean? But like, I was thinking that, and I was talking to my wife, and I was like, why did he not go to? He could have done that. I guarantee he would have been on there. Right.
He went with the person that he thought was the most truthful and reliable and honest. That's the most important thing. Honesty. Mm-hmm. I don't know Vic Cundiff. I don't know anyone really. I do. I don't even keep up with this stuff. I can't tell you who said what and who's doing this or who's doing that. But I know that Roger picked person that he thought he could trust the most. Mm-hmm. So there you have it.
And if you were going if you were doing it for a monetary gain to try to get yourself out there, why the Cryptid Studies Institute was a very small podcast.
Obscure.
They did good work, but nobody knew who they were. They were very underrated. And
for the record, Josh, Roger was dead set against doing anything for TV. He just wanted it to be Johnny and him talking, and we really had to convince him to do that. And here's what I told him. I said, if you're telling the truth, Roger, you're doing people a great disservice by not letting everybody know. You need to let everyone know if you're telling the truth. You need to let everyone that goes to these parks and takes their kids and has no clue what could be possibly lurking just beyond the trees looking at them. So this could happen again. But
Barton, I want to tell you something, though.
To do something. And it wasn't for money. Believe me, there is no money. It was just for the sole purpose of helping people. And so I don't know if that's ruined or not. I'm thinking the whole deal is probably trash now, but it doesn't matter. I'm still going to go, and I'm still going to meet Johnny and his family, and hopefully I'll get to meet Roger sometime in the next year or so. And for myself, at least, I'm not saying I'll be going. I've never wanted to go public, and have a bunch of popularity and attention and all that. But for myself, at least, I will find out if Roger's telling the truth, and I'll know within 5 minutes.
I believe it. Barton, you said something to me. When did we talk? Sunday, or was it yesterday? My days. I think it was last night.
Yeah, all the days are run together.
All run together. And Nick, you know that too. We've all been talking, but
oh man,
let me tell you something. Barton, you said something to me yesterday, and you said, I retired from this, and I have no desire to do whatever. And I told you this, and this is what I told you, and I believe this with all my heart. I really believe this. When God puts something in your path, okay, sometimes it's not your choice. It keeps coming up for a reason, and He's knocking on the door. You got to do it. You have to answer that call. You can't just go, well, I want to do what I want to do. Jonah did that too. He ended up in a whale, if you believe the story,
You're right.
I mean, that's that, some people say, well, that's just an analogy, whatever. It doesn't matter. Regardless, the point is we do things on His time. And whenever you are presented with this situation, you have to step up to the plate and answer the call. When I was given that video over and over again, I ignored it. And then finally, something told me, watch this video. And when I did, then I was like, oh, okay. I didn't jump up and go, I'm going to go and do it on my podcast. That wasn't the idea at all. I just thought maybe I should say something about this. And so the first, day I was on there, and then Jody contacted me, and I was like, okay. And I put him on, and then of course it just developed, and I missed a week because of the kidney stone. But ever since then, we've been doing this every week, and the story just keeps going. It's like it's not stopping. But
no, it won't
sometimes
stop.
it's like a wave. You ride it, and you have to deal with it, and it comes and it goes, and it's not on our time. And if it is presented to you, then you have to be the person that deals with it. I was never one of those people as a kid. I was never aggressive. I didn't want to be a leader, but I was always thrust in a position where I was staring at the other leaders and going like, these people aren't correct. And so you end up saying, let's do it this way. Then other people go, hey, we like the way you do that. And they start to follow you. And you're not trying to be the big boss. It's just, you're just doing it because God puts you in that position and you have to do it.
Right. I have no desire to be anybody's boss other than the guys who work for me.
Yeah. And I think that's the situation.
God has blessed me with a good job, and the pandemic has not affected me one bit. And I'm so grateful for that. And I can only believe that the only reason God would allow someone like me, a dirt poor river boy, born and raised on the banks of the rivers here in Kentucky, the Ohio and Green River. The only reason that He could possibly put all the things that He's put into my path is for me to tell people. I can't understand. I can't believe that He would let me see so much just to have it and keep it to myself. I've seen everything, just about everything you can see, except for Dogman. Never seen one of those, but I've seen aquatic anomalies. I've seen Bigfoot. I've seen things that I don't even have a clue what they are. And I've seen a thunderbird in 1998 that looked like a pterodactyl. And that's probably the strangest thing that I've ever seen. And all right here in my hometown of Henderson, while I was not looking. So I've been on hundreds of expeditions all throughout Kentucky. And I've honestly, just to be quite honest, I've never found or seen a single thing while out looking for it. It was always while I was doing something else. I was fishing or hunting or arrowhead hunting or something like that. And boom, there it is. And you're totally unprepared. But I can only believe that he's put all this in front of me to share it with people, because how selfish would it be to keep it to myself? Because these things are wonderful that I've seen. I saw a castle in the sky. That was from when we lived out on Mallard's Road. The clouds just opened up, and I never thought about this. I always thought it was just a vision of some type, but the clouds opened up into a perfectly round circle, and there in the circle was this castle. I can remember just like it was yesterday. It's clear as day. And everybody said, well, you saw a portal. And it just dawned on me like, wow, I guess maybe I did. I didn't know what it was when I was looking at it. I just, we was coming back from town, and my brother and I were reading comic books in the back seat of our station wagon. And I just happened to look up and saw that. And I grabbed my brother's arm and pulled him over to the window, the passenger side window, and he saw it too. And when we rounded the curve, and the trees obscured it for just a second, and we come back around the curve, it was gone. And now still, it's how do you explain something like that?
Well,
I don't know. It did happen, and that's the truth.
I mean, I have no reason to doubt you. I know that there have been reports, and I've actually I had a guy that claimed that he saw like a host of angelic looking beings in the sky, you know. And I have another guy who would leave his body, and when he left his body, he saw like an entire city, you know, up above in the sky. Like there was an entire city. And I know that one time I was listening to some show, I think it might have been Coast to Coast, something like that. And I was burning the midnight oil, working late. And I remember somebody who did the same thing. He was having out of body experiences, and he said that there was a whole city up there. So maybe you saw something, you know, you saw a glimpse of heaven or another, you know,
it was like a medieval castle.
I mean,
breaking the portal,
a portal. Yeah. Have you guys heard of the Skinwalker Ranch? Now, when you read the book, George Knapp's book, I mean, it says there's a part where that family, they saw like a hole in the sky, and they could see right into it into like a forest. It looked like a forest in the sky. I mean, it's very, you know, it's very odd, but you know, there's a lot of weird stuff out there. People see a lot of weird things. I had a guy that was walking through the woods in Alaska, and he claims to have seen this like circular, look like a mirror. And he was like, whoa, he could see through it. And it looked just like forest, like what he was walking through. But he could see clearly that it was something different in the middle. It was just oval, and it was about 6 foot tall. And he said that you could see the forest and everything on either side of this thing, but there was another forest within there, and it looked completely different. He could tell that it was a whole nother, like it was a gateway. Another story I got was of these Native Americans. There was this happened in Utah. There was these arches, and they would dare one another to jump. The Utes, they would dare one another to jump in and out of them, because at some point one of the braves had jumped through the arch, and he disappeared. Like poof, he was gone. So that it was like a rite of passage. You would jump through that arch, and it's a terrifying thing because you don't know if you're going to just disintegrate or disappear. You don't know where you're going to go.
That's the origins of Russian roulette.
Yeah, I mean,
jump the portal.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very scary thing, you know. But like what you said, Barton, about seeing that, you know, that's not. Some people would chalk it up and say, "Oh, that's the imagination of a child." But you know, as children, we're closer to our true spiritual form. You know, that we're born as, and so you're still retaining a lot of that, you know, that spirituality more. Then as you get older, you get further away from it, and then when you get closer to death, you go back to it. You know, and I truly believe that's it. You know, and then when you're getting ready to go, you know, cross back over, that's what, you know, and so then you're closer to it. You know, and so yeah, I do believe that is very possible. I mean, and people would say, "Oh, I feel like I'm crazy because I've seen these things," but I think some people are born with the gift, the ojo dotado, as they say in Spanish, and I think that's partly what could have been happening there, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's what the missing 911, I think, is partially about. You know, there are portals out there, and it's possible people have stepped through them, you know, accidentally. I don't think they would have done it on purpose, because you see something like that, and you're like, no, I don't think I want to do that. You know, and you'll be seeing things. I mean, there's so many people that go missing all the time, and you can't even find them. Yeah. I mean, and with the technology, with the ground radar that we have, the searching technology that we have, you should be able to find, but they're not. So it's something out there. I mean, I was telling you, Josh, about the research I did, and it's now up to 400 different reports and interviews with people, and I'm still getting the same thing all the time. You know, that there's a light before, after, or before and after. They're seeing these cryptids, and you know, there's portals. There's a lot of stuff out there. Like I said, it's possible. You know, it might be highly improbable, but it's possible.
I believe you're what you're talking about, Nick, when you talk about the orbs and the light, because that's one of the things I did a show on Dogman Encounters Radio. And Barton, I don't know if you've heard any of my shows on there, but I've been on there doing a lot of research, and I had a lot of stories that people had collected. And one of them was one of the ones that I was actually talking about earlier, from close to my hometown, where this little boy was seeing a dog man coming up to his window. And he kept talking about a big black dog, you know, this dog, you know, and his mom's like, "What are you talking about?" And eventually she saw it, and it freaked her out. But they were having shadows in their house. The appliances were coming off and on. The washing machine started jumping around on its own. I mean, it was crazy. the washer and dryer were shaking, and there was no clothes in it, anything like that. You know, it was just a lot of weird stuff. The cats and dogs had all gone missing. So, you know, you could tell that there was like an infestation of something evil there. And one of the things that I believe is very wrong is that people like to compartmentalize. And when I was on the show, I touched on that a little bit, you know, but Vic doesn't really allow too much for the woo. He just wants you to tell the dogman part of it and leave all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people do that, but that they're doing a disservice because,
right.
You know,
Not
one
me,
of the things, yeah, you can't. I mean, she said that there was a ball of light that chased her, you know, and I'm like, this was like, you know,
that's an important part.
Yeah, and I didn't talk about that on the show because that didn't fit the narrative of like, let's just talk about the physical part of these creatures, because I know people who have given their stories to different podcasters, not just Vic, but I mean just different people, and they're like, well, I only told the dogman part of it. Why? Because if you're leaving out a very important aspect of it, like this thing came out of a ball of light. Okay. There's a lot of native cultures that believe. One of my friends, you were talking about the Algonquins earlier, Nick, one of my best friends, who his name actually was Roger, and he committed suicide December 3rd, 2011. He was one of my best friends. He had some problems. He had post-traumatic stress, very bad, but he took his own life, but he was half Algonquin. His mother was an Algonquin. And one of the things that he talked about was that evil spirits, like they travel through balls of light. And that's one of the things that he told me a long time ago. And he wasn't a very spiritual person, but he was like, I err on the side of caution because it could be real. These stories that I was told since I was a kid, that certain entities, you know, it sounded very much like what you would call like the pugwudgies, like the duende, as we say in Spanish, the little duendes or the monitos. And when they travel through yellow balls. And of course, in the Marfa lights, you know, people see these little balls of light bouncing around. And if you go in the Chinati Mountains up there and you go through to Candelaria, into the Pinto Canyon, you got to go through there, you know, people would see these balls of light bouncing around off of those Arroyo Canyons out there, you know. Well, what is that? To me, you know, the Irish, they believe that those are fairies. The Scottish, they have these stories that those are fairies. They bounce but they can, descend and then turn into whatever form that they're going to take or whatever they are, you know. That's something that gets overlooked. How many times have we heard of these things coming out of balls of light? And of course, Barton, you know, Linda Godfrey, she's a good mutual friend of both of ours.
Sure.
She has talked about these, very nice lady. You talk about these portals, you know, she says they come in and out of these portals, and talking about how when she does her research, you know, like she'll hear about Dogman and Bigfoot, and then Goatman kind of shows up. She said this on my show. She's like, it kind of shows up as a third party. Well, you know, why would they all be there? You know, why are they all at the Devil's Backbone over here? Why are they all in Kentucky? You know, there's something to that. I do believe that that they're not all isolated, separate incidents. They're all together. You know, it's all relative. And I really believe
you're right. I believe you're right, Josh.
And I get so much
like I told you,
flack about that. You know, but
the most unpopular thing you could tell somebody or ever offer somebody is the truth.
The truth. Mm-hmm.
And it will be discounted and declined 99% of the time. And there's a few people out there that are even willing to admit that some of these things might be interrelated.
Well, guys, cryptozoology is a hard place to be in. Mm-hmm. It's a hard hobby to have, if you want to call it a hobby. And it's because that, you know, people have seen things and they don't want to be ridiculed by other people. I personally don't give a damn what this guy or that guy thinks about me or says about me. You know, first of all, you're not going to, I dare you to say it to my face. And if you want to, you know, throw down, well, come on, you know. But the thing is, a lot of people are afraid of what other people are going to think about them, and they don't want to come out with their stories. Now, the 400 some odd stories that I've had checked out, a lot of them, hundreds of them, I've spoken to people face to face, and they've never come out with them before. They were given to me by a friend of a friend of a friend, and I would speak to them. And some of the people are like, I don't want to say anything. Some people gave me 2 or 3 sentences, and that was the end of it. Yeah. But I'm telling you, people don't want to be ridiculed.
No, they don't want their name put out.
That's the problem, Nick. Kentucky folk are just, they're really reticent to talk about anything that might make them look
crazy,
silly or crazy. You know, even more so than people from somewhere like New York or somewhere like that. But
you got to remember, it could affect their job.
We keep that stuff to ourselves, you know.
Yeah,
and it's hard for people to talk.
Barton,
luckily for me, I've always had people always felt comfortable around me, and especially when I shake their hand and introduce myself and start talking to them, and they just, I don't know, they just open right up to me. And I always ask them, anybody I interview, no matter what it is, UFO, Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever, I always ask them, have you ever had anything else happen to you in your life that you consider unexplained or that you couldn't explain? Have you ever seen any kind of strange animals or strange lights in the sky? Have you ever lived in haunted houses? And like 65 or 70% will say, yes. Wow, I didn't never expect you to ask me that question, but yes. I lived in a haunted house just a couple years ago. Or I saw a UFO just a week ago. I don't know what it was, but it's crazy how that, you know, a lot of this stuff goes together hand in hand.
Tell you.
Exactly.
It's circular and it's full of stuff and they're all together.
I got to tell you that you know what the whole thing is? Something more powerful than any of these spirits or cryptids. It's the almighty dollar that's stopping people from talking about it. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm serious. Many of the people I've spoken to said, you cannot use my name. You can't use where I live. I'll tell you the story, but I don't want to lose my job.
The job.
People are going to lose their jobs if they talk about this because they're going to be looked upon. I had one lady who was a lawyer.
Yeah.
I had a lady who lived 900 feet from me that saw a dog man, and she moved from here all the way down to Florida. She was part of the political scene. She told me she would sue me to every penny I had if I ever said her name or where she is or anything. She wouldn't even give me the pictures. She had two perfectly clear, not blurry pictures of a dog man.
That would be a first.
Nick, I remember that. I remember that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barton, I saw the two pictures on her cell phone, and I said to her immediately, I said, you have my number. Please send it to me. Oh, yeah, I'll do it. Well, I'm going to tell you, an hour went by, 2 hours went by, nothing. She wouldn't send it to me. But 3 days later, she was in Florida with family. She moved. She was part of the political scene. I would have sullied her name if I would have put it out there. But I would have never done that. I would have made a fake name up or something. But
you have to. There are people I've talked to that live near 29 Palms and Edwards Air Force Base and you know, everywhere in between in that area. And they won't allow you, because they're in the aeronautical industry or whatever, they won't allow you to say their names. And some of them don't even want you to repeat their story. They'll tell you because they want to get it off their chest, but they don't want you to repeat it. And I'm going like, come on. You know, and you can't get these people, especially here in the Austin area. There's all these people in the big tech industry, and they don't want to go to work, you know, at one of these big companies, and their boss is like, this dude, you know, you're going around talking about seeing werewolves, you know. It's not it's not very popular. Yeah, it's not a very popular thing, and so it's hard when you can actually get someone. You know, a lot of times when people come on shows and tell their story, they're actually still not using their real names. They just won't do it. You got to give them an alias or something, you know, because they don't want to be associated with that. And that's the biggest problem you run into, you know, when you're trying to get people to tell their story themselves. You know, it's really not the so much of them just telling the story. It's just that they don't want people to know who they are, because they're still looked at as they're all lunatics. Now, I'm going to tell you something, Nick. The reason that Barton is able to get people to talk so well is because he has a sword called Nightmare, and he holds it in one hand while they're talking, and they're like, "Okay, we'll tell you whatever we want." You know, I'm just kidding. It is an impressive sword, though. I'm a sword guy.
I have more than one sword, by the way.
That's a nice one, though. The one that you showed, you said it was called Nightmare. I was like, yeah, that looks like a nightmare. Now, let me ask you a question about that one, Barton, because I had a lot of people asking me about that sword. So is that sword, does it have any kind of other metal in it, or is it just iron? What is it?
Well, I think I thought it was cast iron, but when I was sharpening it last week, I was out, you know, every weapon I get, if it's a blade edge, I try to learn how to throw it in case I have to, right? And I've learned how to throw machetes and knives and tomahawks and just everything like that. But I could not throw Nightmare. It's just too heavy at the end, right? So I was sharpening it I was sharpening it up, Josh. But when I was sharpening it, I found out it's probably not cast iron. It's probably steel. But it doesn't matter. It's so heavy and it's so sharp. It really doesn't matter if it's cast iron.
Do you know that the Arabs? You know, I worked with a lot of Arabs for a long time. You know, and they have a lot of people would call them superstitious people. I worked with some that were Druze. That's Druze. For those who don't know what that is, they have their own culture, their own whatever. They're not Muslim. They're not Christian. They're Druze, and they have these very specific beliefs. And then there were some that were Muslim and some that were Christian, but they all have a universal belief that blades keep evil spirits at bay. And you go into their house, and a lot of times they'll have knives on the wall. You know, and I started doing that years ago, back in like the 90s. I collected knives and I would put them on the wall. And I figured out in my old house, there was one room where I kept almost all my knives, and there was really not a lot of activity in that one area. The only thing that ever really happened in that area was there was this one knife that was actually silver. And my brother talks about it on my show, and it would come up out of the case and fall into the ground. And they would see it quite a bit, and I never saw it until finally one day I saw it. I saw it happen, but I caught the tail end of it happening, and it was a weird thing. It was like I have that knife case in my bedroom, and it doesn't fall out and do any of that. But when in that old house, it would open up and do that. And my brother saw it clear as day one time with my now deceased buddy Willie that we named the art contest after, and they were both like, "Whoa!" You know. And so I came out of there, my room, was like, "What's going on?" That knife just came out of the case, you know. And that was the only time that anything ever happened involving metal. And I think that it has something to do with the electromagnetic impulses, like metal. I think it could be, you know, scientific. Like maybe it breaks up the charges. You know, maybe they can't manipulate metal like they can, you know, water and other types of elements. You know, fire. You know, I know that there was this one lady who just absolutely was she was Iranian. She was Persian. And she told me and my buddy who owns a nightclub here in Austin or in Pflugerville, and she told us, she goes, "I won't have fire in my house because there's something in my house, and if I have a fire, a candle or anything, it'll try to light the curtains on fire." She couldn't have fire in her house.
Wow.
Because whatever this demon, obviously demonic, would try to manipulate it, you know. And so you know. And my buddy, who he's Persian, you know, he told her, he says, hang a knife, like a sword or a knife in the rooms where there's problems. And she's like, "Oh no, it'll grab that and do something with it. It'll whatever." But she did. And then, you know, but she said that there hadn't been any incidents, you know, but that was only a couple weeks after the original. So I have no idea. I haven't kept up with that story, but they're very grounded in that belief. They believe that you know, that's what you should do. Right. Is because the metal, it has something to do with that. Now, I know, Nick, you had told me once, and it might sound silly to the uninitiated, but, you know, as Bane said, we are initiated. You, Nick, said that you always come prepared. Now, you said that you go out on investigation, and it even sounds kind of silly to say it, but you're like, I bring everything. I bring holy water. I bring salt. Right, Nick? I think I might have lost him.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, but Nick said that, you know, and he told me, he says, "Dude, when I go out on investigation, I come prepared. I bring everything. I don't just go with just myself and my equipment, you know, because you don't know what you could run into or what could happen." And I totally
wasn't silver used for purity though? I mean, it used to purify the blood.
Yeah, colloidal silver is still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
maybe it has something to do with that too, because it's a purity thing.
So hold on one second. Let me get him back on here.
Hello, you there?
Yeah, we lost you. We're going to get him back on here, folks. Okay, Nick. Nick.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, sorry about that. So one of the things I was saying when I was talking, and I guess I lost you, you were talking about how when you go out on location that you always come prepared. And
everything. I bring white salt, black salt, holy water, because absolutely. I don't know what I'm going up against. And because of the this investigation that I'm continuing now, the research about the lights coming on before and after cryptids are seen, because of that, now I'm trying to rethink what else do I need out there, because I'm trying to affect these things in any way possible. I'm currently trying to work on something that will stop the mind speak or the mind control that some of the cryptids are supposedly able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's like a Faraday cage for your head, for your brain, so they can't affect you or anything, because a lot of people, when they come across a cryptid, they're frozen in time. They actually lose some time. But you're right. Yeah, I carry everything out there, especially my two friends, Mike and Ike. And Ike is a knife. I sent you a picture of it.
Yeah.
And Mike is a 10mm Glock.
Yeah.
So
you got to come prepared.
You got to come prepared for everything. You never know what's out there. That's why I kind of laugh when people tell me, "Hey, wait, listen, where can I go to find a dog man or a Sasquatch?" And it's like, yeah. Okay, well, when they find you, or a bear or a mountain lion finds you, then what's your game plan? What's going to go on? Oh, well, I didn't think of that. You don't want to be out there. I mean, there's snakes out there too, people.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things out in the forest that they don't understand. Copperheads
and rattlesnakes and everything else in between out here. Let me tell you, everybody thinks that tromping around out in the woods is a fun thing or whatever, and I'm like, and let me tell you something, the woods ain't the zoo. If you do run into something, there's no cages or moats protecting you from those critters. Not just the cryptids, but the zoological animals themselves too. I mean, you could.
I've been attacked by a rabid raccoon. I've been attacked by a rabid beaver. That's about 80 pounds.
Yeah, they get big.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I didn't have a gun. I didn't have any guns. So,
hey guys, something nobody thinks about, but something all my team members carry is a heavy amount of different types of DEET and bug spray, because we were down in Louisiana last year, and damn, they got some friggin' mosquitoes out there that carry you right off and eat you later on. Unbelievable.
Yeah, because Barton, we were talking about going down to. I was talking about going with Dana Holyfield, the Honey Island swamp monster, and she was on the show, and we were talking about doing an expedition and going out there and doing it. Times kind of got away from me because it's getting too hot now, and I just didn't. My job is just so demanding. But
right,
I wanted to do something.
To my job too, brother. Absolutely. I understand completely.
Yeah, we got to do it. I mean,
Josh, tell me on that one,
please. You can't do it, with the cryptid stuff.
Well, yeah, I was thinking, if we could get, what I was going to do, and I kind of jokingly said this to Ken and Lyle Blackburn, Ken Garrett. I said, y'all go out there and y'all tromp around with Dana, and I'll stay back at the hotel. and then when y'all find this thing, Photoshop me, and Photoshop me into it, and then I can have my arms around it, like, hey, because the main thing is that they were talking about these spiders as big as your hand that jumps in the boats with you. That part right there was a big no for me. I was like, that part right there just kind of, no, I don't know. I mean, but I was thinking, Nick, that you and Barton, that'd be right up your alley. Go down there, and
I'd love to go down there. I'm telling you. Hey, have you ever seen a large wolf spider?
Oh yeah, we got them in Texas.
Yeah, they're as big as your hand. Damn it.
Big as your hand, right? Same in Kentucky. The same in Kentucky.
But those are good though. They're good because they'll actually eat the bad ones.
Yeah.
They'll kill anything.
I got a couple in my house right now, just to help me out around here.
You just keep them around, huh? Keep them in
That's
your house.
all. Yeah. Run around. No wonder I don't get any visitors, but, better than keeping a dog. They don't, you don't have to take them out to go poop or anything.
Well, Ryan would disagree with that. You got Duke. Yeah, Duke will take care of it. He'll protect you. I'll tell you what, guys, the hour is getting late. It's already 11:16 over here in Central Texas, and I know you guys on the East Coast, it's got to be midnight.
Yeah.
So I know you
12:16. Yeah.
So I know you guys got work tomorrow and things you got to do. If you guys need to go, I understand. Just let me know.
I can spare a few more minutes, Josh. I honestly have to go when I'm done here and write out my bills.
Yeah,
so that time of the next week. So that's going to take me an hour. Yeah. No, it's every week. Every week.
Yeah.
Do you write out them bills with some of that good Kentucky bourbon or what?
No, I'm a painting contractor, Nick.
Oh, I got you.
That's how I make my living. I'm one of the biggest new home manufacturers in Western Kentucky, and they keep me just solidly busy. And they say that I'm the best they've ever had. So, they just throw the work at me, and it's been like this for a couple of years now. And it's really, I wish I could retire. I'm getting old. I'm getting too old.
Well, how old? Barton, you're not that old. What are you, 54, 55?
I'm 54 years old.
54.
Yeah. I'm expected to work like I'm 25. So
unknown.
Nick, I know you're about 50. All right. Well,
close.
Yeah, because but you're in heck of a shape for somebody's 50. Like you going in training and all that. That's very noble of you to be prepared for our big fight. But I'm going to tell you, like I did when I was an amateur, when I was fighting back in the day. There was this guy. He was a big guy, and I was only about 250 back then. I was a youngster. And they did the little pre-fight thing, and he was like, "Oh, I've spent 17 years building my body," and then they came to me, and I was like, "It's going to take me 17 seconds to destroy it," and I did, and that's but no more bragging. But
all right, Josh, I'm just I got to check on the moms. So
do what?
I can check on my mom. So
yeah, I understand, Ryan. Ryan, definitely, we're going to get back together, and we're going to start back up on the podcast, on the Cryptid podcast, because we have to get your equipment situation, and you have to take care of your mom, folks. Pray for Ryan's mother. She has cancer, and she's not. He takes care of his mother, and that's a noble thing. So
yeah, it sure is.
That's what good sons do.
Yep.
It sure was a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Ryan.
You too, sir. That was very nice meeting you.
Nick? Ryan, we'll talk soon, man.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you got my number, Nick. You can call me whenever.
Oh, yeah.
All right. You guys take it easy. Everybody in the audience, you have a good night. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. All right,
Take
Ryan. I'll see you. Thanks for everything. Folks, Ryan had an encounter with a hyena-type dogman. And Nick, you had an encounter with what I believe, just because of where it was at, that it was more than likely a skinwalker. That's what I think.
It was a skinwalker.
I do, because it was the reservation. I really do. And I asked some people about that, and they just, I did a show with my own cousin who was in Wyoming, and he spent a lot of time in the Shoshone, at the Wind River. And they he believed, when I told him about your encounter, he was like, it had to be, because that's what inhabits those areas. What I have been told, and I don't know if this is absolutely correct, but people who've told me, that when the skinwalkers are in the area, a lot of the other activity is like silent. It's like,
oh yeah,
and it tends to take precedence, because they have the ability to manipulate the dark side. And so whenever people claim that they see a dog man and there's no noise, I'm automatically, my ears are like, okay, this could be a skinwalker, because they manipulate the dark side, so can
Bigfoot. I've taken so many reports that mention that facet of it.
Yeah.
It's like all the other animals just go quiet, even the crickets and the tree frogs, It's like they know that something's there, and they don't want it to look at them or whatever. They just want to be quiet. It's really strange.
Well, Barton, I'll tell you, I've never seen a Sasquatch, even though I've tried, been out there, but I did have an encounter with a Variant 3 dog man. I believe it's a dog. I'm physical, because it was holding in its right paw a part of a deer. It was actually a buck, maybe a year-old buck, and it was actually eating it, and it paid no attention to me whatsoever. Like I was totally insignificant. And I lit this thing up I had a Jeep Wrangler, and I had like 500,000 candle power of light on all the lights that I had on there, and I lit it up. It just totally ignored me. Totally, I'm insignificant. And I
you got out your cell phone and took a picture, right, Nick?
Yeah, right. I'll tell you what I had.
That's what everybody says.
I had a 10 milli Glock, and I had bear spray in my left hand. And I thought it was eating a human, because it was right next to a stop sign, and parked on the stop sign was a bicycle.
Oh my God.
And I thought, the reason why I stopped, I thought it was a bear. But there's no bear I've ever seen was this tall, especially in the dark color that this was. And it wasn't a 5-6 second encounter. I was standing there looking at it and looking off, what it was doing. It didn't even look at me. And after close to a minute, then it walked off. And I know it was physical, because I heard it crunching. It was crunching the leaves underneath, and it was crunching the branches. And that was something.
They manifest as physical regardless. And one of the things that Linda had said, Linda Godfrey, she had told me that she believed that when they are in our plane of existence, they have to do they have to eat, they have to drink, they have to live, but they can come and go, and that's one of the things that she had said. And I've always kind of subscribed to that could be the deal too. I mean, I for years thought what I saw was absolutely physical. It shook a fence. It did what it did. But then I found out in December 2019 that there was some sort of vaporous something coming from the back, the neck, and that was something I had never been told until, I was told that by a witness that was there in the house. And when he said that, I thought, oh my gosh, all those years, that part was never told to me, but because I had never really sat down with him and just gone over what he saw. I just kind of assumed everybody else in the house saw the same thing. And for whatever reason, I never had gone that far into what he saw. I just assumed it was like everybody else. But, one of the people saw that. Whereas me and the guy that it happened to, and this was his brother, when me and the guy it happened to, he didn't see that. We just saw something that looked physical, and I was frozen in my tracks. And my buddy ripped my shirt trying to get me to come, come on, let's go. And I just stood there and don't even really remember what I was doing. I guess I just zoned out, but it was, it's kind of like how you were talking about how they can manipulate you and make you freeze and whatever, and maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But I do believe that, now there was this one encounter, it was a very short one I could tell you about that somebody gave me. And this was in Idaho, and they were driving up to a 4-way stop, and the stop sign was shaking. It was shaking, but it was nothing there. It was physically shaking. And there was this couple, and it was a guy and a girl. The girl was driving. Her little sister was in the back seat, and she was a teenager, and they were both in their early 20s. And they saw this stop sign just going woo, woo, woo like that. And there was nothing there. But as they crossed over the 4-way stop, they looked back, and the girl in the back turned and saw what looked like a wolf-like creature shaking it, manipulating it. But it wasn't big, though. She said it just looked like a short little wolf-like thing, it was manipulating it. So, it doesn't matter. I mean, just, that you saw that it was doing something physical. And I'm not discounting what you believe or anything like that, but you can't say 100% no, it wasn't, because they do things that are physical. They manifest as physical. I mean, people that are in houses that are having poltergeist activity, things are thrown at them. I've had people tell me they've had, protein shakers thrown at them and candles thrown at them, by entities. I mean, they physically slap them, choke them, push them onto the wall. The list goes on and on. I mean, so this thing that you saw, it was physical, and it was doing what it does. But I know that if you guys are familiar with J.C. Johnson, like, he was pretty, believe that these people that could change into these things, they actually have to do, physical things, because they can shapeshift, but they're taking on like a demonic form, and that they can be stuck that way. So there's no telling what that was. It could have been a skinwalker. It could have been what a lot of people believe is just a flesh and blood dog man. I just really have a hard time with that, because when you get hundreds of reports like we do, and a lot of them are not of this physical creature, that everybody wants to believe it is, that you can just go out and find. And what I always tell people, I challenge them, I say, well, bring me your proof. Where's your proof of this physical creature? Because if it's a physical creature, I mean, it's not going to stay hidden forever. At some point, we're going to have some kind of proof of that. And there just isn't. And anybody who will say, yeah, I have proof of this, and then it never works out. I mean, it never happens. So
I can tell you, Josh, the scariest experience that I've ever had in my life. So nearly all my experience happened with me and one or more witnesses. So I know it wasn't just me imagining things or anything like that. But the scariest experience, one of the scariest experiences of my life was the time that me and my little brother was surrounded by 4 or 5 of these Bigfoot creatures. And they were snapping limbs and just making one heck of a commotion, right? All around us, and they were closing in on us. But we couldn't see them. We could not see them. And when at the end of the experience, they got within 10 feet of us. And there must have been at least 3 or 4, or maybe more. It sounded like a herd of elephants were surrounding us and coming to get us. I mean, tree breaks and heavy footfalls. But when they got within 10 feet of us, we still couldn't see anything. So explain that in a physical way, and I will listen.
Yeah.
But when you have a physical animal that can come within 10 feet of me and I can't see it, and that doesn't say physical animal to me. That says something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not my only experience with that. But, a lot of people ridicule that factor, but it is true.
Yeah.
I know because I've experienced it. I can't sit here and tell you things are true that I don't really know. But the things that I've experienced myself and I know are true, I can tell you without any problem. These creatures can achieve a state of complete invisibility to the human eye. How they do it, I don't know, unless they're some type of supernatural creature. How a physical creature can do that, I don't know. I had another experience it was broad daylight, but one threw a dirt clod at me and 3 of my friends were fishing, and so the bank sloped up about 15 feet, but as soon as the dirt clod hit it between us, I jumped up because I knew that we were there alone, and whatever threw that had to have a thumb to throw it, 25 or 30 feet to hit it. So I jumped up. As soon as I jumped up, the footsteps started taking off. Okay, 1, 2, I'm still scrambling up the bank. 3 steps, heavy, not light steps, and it was dead leaf fall everywhere. It was autumn. And we're out fishing at the Green River, just below the Boots Farm. But on the 4th step, my eyes came up above the level of the riverbank, right? And there was nothing there. The 4th step never fell. So whatever it was stopped at 3 steps. And we couldn't find it. And it scared the girls so bad we cut our fishing trip short. But I'm telling you, I can track a squirrel through dead leaf fall. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to track animals through that. I could not find a single footprint, and I walked around and around that place for 45 minutes trying to find what it was that threw that at us, and took 3 steps and stopped, and I couldn't see it. So I have no other option other than to conclude that whatever it was completely invisible, or it was gone. So it took 3 steps and turned invisible, or it was completely gone, whichever you prefer. There was nothing there. So there you have it. And that's my experience with these things. I know they can achieve invisibility to our eyes. So you can explain that to me. If Nick can, using a flesh and blood explanation, I'll be happy to listen.
Well, what I'm saying is that in this world, it's possible that you have paranormal beings, you have creatures like cryptids, like the Dogman. You have, you most likely have UFO aliens on this earth. There's a combination. You have paranormal things going on. No, there's nobody that can say that this can't be a possibility. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You might have something flesh and blood. You might have something that's spiritual, type of thing that can go flesh and blood. So I until I can prove that, then I have to keep an open mind.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. And guys, I'm going to wrap it up. It's 11:30, and I do appreciate you guys coming on the show. You guys are on the Eastern time frame, I believe. Are you Eastern?
I'm Central. Yeah.
Oh, you're Central like me. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it was great coming on your show again, Josh. It's always good to talk to you, man. And it's great meeting you, making your acquaintance, Nick.
Hey, same here, Barton.
Great talking to you guys.
Going to break into your book tonight too.
All right, buddy. I sure appreciate that.
Thank you.
All my book sales, I don't take a penny of that money. I donate all that to charity. So, you guys, if you would buy a couple of my books, that would be great. It would help. It would actually help people.
Yeah, yeah. And we're going to. Is there a way that we can discuss how we can donate to a link? Maybe we can get together to have anyone that wants to donate that they can donate to the to helping Johnny Henderson.
Well, I don't have one, Josh. We should put up a GoFundMe page. I don't even know that. I haven't talked to Johnny since his wife passed, and that's as it should be. He has his I'm sure his world's crushed, and he's just trying to find a place of balance where he can stand, Yeah. But yeah, we should put up a GoFundMe page for him, because I know that, I know they need help, and they need help before this, so they need a lot of help now. So
yeah, and so guys, like you said, he's trying to raise money with those DVDs, and if you guys want to go and bid on that to help out the family, then that would be something that you could do. I've already made an offer to you, Barton. So if you can get more, get more. If you can't, well,
Well, I can tell you right now, Josh, no one has bid even close to what you offered. You're an extremely gracious and generous man, and I appreciate you.
Yeah.
So anybody that helps other people in this world, I have a deep-rooted respect for, because most people are just out for themselves. They're just out for their own, whatever reason, fame, glory, money, and hardly no one takes the time to help their fellow man anymore. It's pretty bad.
It's not, and that's a sad thing, because there's a lot of people suffering, and I don't understand.
Everybody's suffering. Everybody's suffering in one way or another now, and it's really bad. So I just encourage your listeners, and if you can take a minute of your time and help someone, it doesn't have to be money. It can be anything. Just please take a moment to help somebody.
Yeah.
And you'll feel better. I promise it'll make you feel good.
Buy somebody you don't know a meal. Buy them a meal.
Sure. Yeah, pay it forward.
God always gives you back to you.
God gives you back 10 times what you give, if you give with a gracious heart and not grudgingly.
That's right.
So test God, and he will never fail on any of his promises.
Yep. I believe that with all my heart too, folks. And Nick, you, Barton, all the people that I've made close friends with in this community have been very good to me, very nice to me. I've met a few jerks, you're going to meet them, they're not, they're out there, but you two definitely aren't those people. And you got to also, guys, and I'm not talking to you two, but the people out there listening, you got to remember that people are people, and they make mistakes, and they're fallible.
Sure.
And you got to give leniency for that, because there was only one perfect person, and that's,
and there'll never be another one.
Another one. And so,
and don't kick somebody when they're down. Everybody has their problems, and some of their problems are public and are right there for everyone to see, but most of their problems are private. So don't kick somebody when you see that they're struggling and they have a problem.
Yeah.
Give them a little space, and don't kick them while they're down.
Yep.
Please.
And I want everybody else also, one of my brothers, not my flesh and blood brother, but one of my brothers from the old days, he's going into rehab tomorrow, and he's going to be gone for about a month. He's finally going to try to just get the monkey off his back. He's had a problem with alcohol. He admits it, and he's went into the hospital and nearly died again because he'd started back up. And I just please pray that he gets that spirit of addiction off of him, because my wife is just so crushed, because he promised us he wasn't, and he's worked for me loyally for years. He's a very good guy. He's a good, honest guy. He loves God, but he's just struggling. And he admitted to himself, that's the first step. You can admit that you're powerless. I don't have an addictive personality. I dipped snuff for years and years, and then I just quit. And my wife was like, I can't believe you just quit. And that was 3 years ago, and I just never did it again. I can just do that. I mean, a lot of people cannot do that. They just can absolutely not do that. And so he's asked for prayer, and if everybody could offer up a prayer for him, just say a prayer, and then say a prayer for the world in general and all the things that are going on in this world that are just absolutely evil. You see people doing things that aren't fit for animals. And just remember, that we're all being watched. And I don't mean just by some shadow government. I'm talking about God is there, and everybody needs to know. I'm not trying to preach, okay, but I'm telling you that when you go to bed at night, say a prayer for the world, because it could also easily get worse. Also,
Josh, it's going to get worse, and that's a promise. But also, if your listeners would please say a prayer for Linda Godfrey. I'll consider that a personal favor. She's gravely ill too, and has been for some time. She's battling several different afflictions, and she needs your prayers as well. And she's, like I say, she's a wonderful, wonderful lady.
Yeah. Yep. And she's a good friend. She's a nice person.
Right.
When I've spoken with her, we've always clicked very well. I mean, we have a lot of similar views, and she's a good person. She's a friend of mine. So,
dear friend of mine too. Yes.
Yeah. And so Barton, I wish you the best. And folks, I encourage you to go after you get done with the show, or tomorrow, whenever you get a chance. When Barton did the show with Roger, they did a roundtable with the Cryptid Studies Institute with Johnny and Elijah Henderson. Go check it out. It's them talking next week. Now, Nick, next week we are going to try and talk to Roger and again, just make sure that we get it on there, and then you and Roger can talk and y'all can go over everything. And he said he was looking forward to it, and he's like us. Unfortunately, he has to work. He's a working man, and but you guys can talk and you can ask him the hard questions. And you know, poor guy's been asked a lot of hard questions by a lot of people. So, you know, it's a whole lot to go through for somebody who's just making something up. I can tell you that. I wouldn't do it. I'd just be like, you know what, I'm done. All right, I just made it up. Sorry, you know, goodbye.
Yeah,
you'd have to have a severe character flaw to do that.
Yeah,
invite all that on yourself.
And also,
but I'll be listening to that, Nick. I'll be listening to that show because I'm interested in what your questions.
Okay, Barton, great.
I mean, and if he is, you know, dishonest, well, karma takes care of that too.
Sure, it'll come out. It'll come out.
You know? And so that's not on us. It's no skin off our nose. I mean, it's him. Right. It's his life that he's deal with, and let him deal with it. And I don't care to attack the guy. You know, when I first heard, I didn't really believe, not 100%, but I didn't care to go after the guy and be like, oh, I'm going to prove this guy's lying, because I don't give a crap. I mean, you know, it's him that has to deal with it. You know what I mean?
Everybody has to defend their own story, Josh. Mm-hmm. It's not for the person giving someone the platform to speak their story, to defend the story.
Yeah.
It's for the person who tells the story. It's like me. I defend my story. I will never back down. I would never lose a debate because I have truth on my side, and it doesn't matter who I'm debating. But I defend my own story, and if you come out with something like this, so sensational and terrifying, then you better be ready to defend it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a good show, and I'll be listening to that.
Yeah, and especially when you challenge the narrative that's been there for 40 years, that's a hard one. I mean, you know, so
but it's still just a narrative.
Yep, that's all it is. And what
truth is important.
Barton,
the truth will defend itself. You set it free, and it defends itself.
That's right. One of the things you said, Bart, I want to end with this. You said that what does it matter what you or Jan or anybody else said in the past? You know, do you want to expound on that real quick, like what you had said about that?
Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but it doesn't matter what we say.
Yeah, what you said.
The only thing that matters is the truth, Josh.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're wrong. So Jan was told this story by someone else. I was told this story by Jan. I put it in my books. Everybody read it. Everybody got their little piece of it. And the story just, with each person, just kind of evolved. And I've heard this story told so many times, and every person just kind of adds their own little thing to it. But what's important to me is the truth.
Yeah.
And that's all that I care about. If I've been wrong for 20 years, then so be it. I don't have a stake in it. I'm not losing any money. I don't do it for money. I just want the truth. And that's what I try to share with my readers of my books, is the truth only. So it doesn't really matter who says what or who tells you something. You know, they have to defend yourself, and if it's true, they will defend it, and they will never back down. And if it's a lie, then they should crack pretty easily. Unless, like Nick says, unless you're a pathological liar who, you know, they do this every day of their life. And sociopath, right. But
sociopath.
Everybody has to back their own story.
Yeah. And what you had said, Barton, was that you said pretty much the same thing, but what you had said was that you know, it doesn't matter what was said in the past if this guy's telling the truth, you know.
Right, it totally validates everybody's efforts with this LBL case. Even if we have the small, inconsequential details wrong. So if Roger is telling the truth, he's the only person on the planet who can substantiate that the LBL murders took place at all, period. And it really doesn't matter if Janet got some details wrong, or I got some details wrong or Jody got details wrong. What matters is that the story that actually happened. So, and that's a huge monumental step forward. You know, I believe he's telling the truth. I hope he is, because it's a monumental step forward for not only the LBL case, but for every inhumanoid case that's ever been reported.
That's absolutely right.
You know, we would have if he can just prove himself to most people's satisfaction, but he'll never be able to prove anything. Nobody can prove anything. If you're waiting around for somebody to prove something, then you'll die an old man without any satisfaction. Nobody's going to be able to prove anything. But if he can prove himself to most people that he's telling the truth to most people, then that's a monumental step forward. And if it something happens that we can actually prove that it actually happened, I would love to hear some of these cops that are talking to people, you know, behind the scenes anonymously. Well, I can say anything anonymously. I can say I'm a cop anonymously, but I'm not really a cop. But if somebody could come forward and substantiate one way or another that it actually happened, wow. It's like the biggest thing that would ever happen in the cryptozoological world, period. Even bigger than the Patterson Gimlin film. I mean, half the people think it's fake, half the people think it's real. But that's probably the biggest thing that's ever happened in the cryptid community. But if Roger's story is proven somehow to be true, that's far and above some could be hoax film footage that no one's ever going to know the truth about, right? So
yeah,
that's what I'm hoping for. And let's just hope for it. And maybe Nick can get, you know, more out of him than I can, or I have so far. But I'm definitely planning on talking to him further and meeting with him and, you know, finding out for myself.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have him on next week. And Nick, you can be prepared and ask the questions and just be cordial and polite. I don't want yelling and screaming like we had a couple weeks ago, you know. But
I don't do that.
That's not your style. Yeah, you walk softly and carry a big stick. And in Barton's case, a big sword. So, all right, gentlemen, I'm going to let you go. Okay, guys, y'all have a good night and thank you. God bless. Thank
you. Great being on with you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good night.
God bless you guys. Have a great evening.
Yep.
Bye
bye. Guys, that was Nick Valente and Barton Nunley, good friends of mine, good people, good guys. And you know, like I said, I'm gonna take these off because I don't need them on right now. Oh God, I'm sore. I worked out last night. Got my little 25s, and I was just like, and I did the other one. I was, like Van Damme. And then Planet Fitness kicked me out and told me never to come back. And today I woke up and called my lawyer. I'm hoping to own Planet Fitness by the end of the week. The American dream, right? Sue your way to the top, right? Anyways, folks, I know that was silly. Are you from Kentucky, Josh? No, I'm not. Crypto Outlaw, where are you from? Waiting. I'm just messing with you, Crypto Outlaw. I don't know. Where are you from, though? Seriously, brother. No, I'm not from Kentucky. Been through there, but I haven't been there. I haven't been there at all. Like, and just to stay or hang out or anything, just been through there. Yeah, I from Texas. I hang my hat in Texas. I try to, you know, be as loyal to my state as possible. For the folks that your pictures were picked for the art contest, I need you to send me a message saying, "Hey, those are my picks," and so you can get your prizes. You will get your autographed books, and you will get your PRT swag. Am I saying that right? Is it swag? How do you say? Is it swag or swag? I don't even know. I'm asking you, the millennial over here, but I guess he's not going to answer. Are you awake over there, millennial? I think he's asleep. Anyways, somebody says, Josh, how much are you benching these days? You look like you could bench at least 405 for reps. And yeah, a lot more, actually. I have very massive pecs. I have a very strong gorilla-like chest. Not bragging. I'm being serious. I'm a very strong. My bench is very, very strong. In fact, if Scorpion, I don't know, you or Diablo are on the thread, y'all could throw it out there. What you've seen me bench if you're out there. I don't know if you're out there, but anyways, it's over 600 for reps. Yeah, I used to work out with 4, and sometimes I would do 500, couple 3 times and I would do burnout sets and to get stronger, and then do the incline, the decline. And my wife wants me to make a workout video for weightlifting because I've trained a lot of people. I've trained strongman, tough man, a lot of people in strength training, boxers, football players. I've done a lot of strength training with people, and surprisingly, I'm very, very quick. I am very super quick for a big guy. Hands like a middleweight, and I'm not joking. I'm not bragging. I'm being completely honest and serious. I train people for a long time. So my wife's like, you should make a workout video. And I'm a membership at 3 different gyms, and I had to because of the COVID thing, because my main gym was not open but 4 hours a week. And they're still milking it, and I'm really sick of them. So I'm just, so I ended up having to go to Planet Fitness. I'm not bagging on them, but you can't be loud. You can't look at somebody while you're doing your sets and go, because they'll be like, and then if your mask comes down below your right here, then there's like an alarm. And then they come and they spray you with a peroxide solution, which the other day got in my eyes, and I was like, I'm blind. Just kidding. That didn't actually happen. Y'all out there probably believe I'm being serious. But my point is that, I am an enthusiast when it comes to lifting weights, and I know whatever your sport is, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, it could be freaking golf. I know what muscles you need. I'm good at getting that to that point where you need to do that. Something I've researched a long time ago. Bill Phillips used to read his books, the EAS guy, back in the day, and the supplementation was a big thing, and I tried to, I trained, I wrestled, just boxed, everything I could, a very physical person, and just tried to be as strong of a person as I could, and so if you ever in the Austin area and you want me to show you my routine, I'll show you. But if you fall over, well, that's on you. I felt like I was going to fall over dead last night, so it wouldn't surprise me. I worked really hard. My wife was with me, and I just was overdoing it. I was doing a lot of chest last night, and it was just, I just don't waste time. If you go to the gym and you're going to lift, go in and lift. Okay. I'm not in there to play around and talk to people. I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to lift weights and be strong. If you notice, I am 45 years old. People always tell me I wear my age well. I don't know about that. I don't know my opinion on that one way or the other. I don't want to sound arrogant or anything like that, but I can tell you, it is the fountain of youth. I knew a Cuban guy who was 58 years old, or 56 years old, and he would work out. And one day he was in there, and we were having to, because it was real busy, and we had to share the tricep machine, whatever. And I asked him, I was like, man, he was doing good weight. Now I do sets of 20. Okay, I do 3 to 6 sets of 20, depending upon what I'm doing. I don't do 10, because 10 don't get it done. Okay, and I do heavy weight typically. So do the math. I mean, it's, that's how you become strong. But this guy was hanging with me. He was doing about 12, But I was shocked, and I asked him how old he was. He said he was 58 years old. This guy didn't look a day over 40. Okay, I was about 41, I think, at the time when I met him. Okay, and he was 56 years old, and he was doing that. So, that to me, and he said the same thing. He's like, dude, I've been lifting for years, 40 years. He's like, and that's what's kept me young and healthy looking and strong. I believe it. When I lost a bunch of weight, I did it by weightlifting and eating correctly, not a bunch of cardio, because cardio will actually, it increases free radicals in your body. If you do too much cardio, it increases free radicals in your body. You got to have it, though, for wind and stuff like that. So walking, running, doing some things, I do a lot of moving around for like boxing, stuff like that. You got to do that because that's good for your wind. You got to have, and your heart's got to be strong, but you could easily overdo cardio. The trap people fall into is that they do too much cardio and then their heart enlarges. And so it's not really necessary to do a ton of cardio to lose weight. You can eat healthy and you can lift weights and you can get to where you need to be. I did it. I know. I had let myself get way overweight and I dropped over 100 pounds, and I did it by eating healthy and by doing a massive amount of weightlifting. So, that's the thing. I encourage everybody to go to the gym and do what you got to do if or you can just be, wimpy and weak and whatever. I'm just kidding, folks. It's your prerogative. Do what you want. Live your life. These are awesome too. I'm not getting paid to promote these, but they're called dry. And this one is a ginger one. And they only got 70 calories. And folks, it's like a soda. It's got some sugar, but it doesn't have a ton of sugar. So, yeah, it's good stuff. I really like it. So it's got like maybe not even a quarter of the sugar that a regular soda does. So it's mildly sweet enough to where it tastes kind of like you're drinking a soda, and it's got the carbonation that you're looking for, but it doesn't make you like a big fat hippo. So. Blaine Washington, who won the art contest? I did. I drew all them pictures myself with all those different types of styles because I'm good like that. I fooled y'all. I came in first, second, third, and 10th. I did all of it. No, honestly, we don't know yet. We're not going to know until we figure it out. We're going to have to, as first, second, and third tiers, we're going to have to figure out who won. So we'll announce that. I will announce the winner. Hold on one second. Wish I had the air horn. I could wake Anthony up over there. Hey, Anthony! I didn't want y'all to hear me yelling. Flacco! So I need my phone because I need to look and I need to announce who won the giveaway from last week. That's cool. This guy says, my dad was a power lifter. I started working out with him when I was 9. The best gift he could have ever given me. Yeah, that's a good gift to teach you that. It's awesome. Let me announce this real quick. See if I can get this up here. We had so many things in the announcements that it's like it took up a lot of it. Anyways, I thank everybody for participating in the Mothman art contest, and we're going to do a poll tomorrow or the next day. We're going to get on it, and we're going to let you guys know. I'm hoping Jersey Devil, but you guys can decide. We're going to let y'all choose between 4 or 5 different creatures, and y'all can decide which one y'all want to draw. And I wanted to announce this guy. Let me see if I got him in my messages. And I thank Ryan for coming on. Paul McLean. If you're out there, Paul McLean, I sent you a message and told you had won the giveaway for this past week. So you still haven't looked at it. You haven't responded. So let me know, Paul. You're the winner of the giveaway from this last episode. If you haven't heard it, it was my personal experience, and it happened to me, and so yeah, it was called The Haunted Tower. It was part 1 and part 2. Part 2 had a lot more, I think, to it than part 1, just because part 1 just kind of laid the groundwork for it, and then part 2, and it was not a jokey, funny thing for me. It was very serious. It happened to me. Somebody was like, "We got to go investigate this building." I don't know if you can get in. I don't know if the security will let you in. It's pretty tight there. But I know that another person said, "Well, how come we've never heard of this, or it's been online or whatever?" There's a lot of places that are haunted silly and they're not advertised. That's a private building, that people rent out, for their businesses. I don't think they want people knowing that, because then nobody's going to want to rent their stuff there. And as soon as something happens, they're going to leave. There are a couple buildings downtown that have a hard time keeping tenants, and I know why, because I've worked in those places and I can tell you. So yeah, there's reasons for things like that. So folks, be ready for the art contest. And so whoever won, step up. So let me know so that you can get your money. And at this point right now, we don't even know which show we're going to do next. So I've got a couple ideas about recording, but tomorrow I have a big meeting, so I can try to get some things done. But this piece of real estate we're trying to buy, and I just don't know what we're going to do about Friday. We may not have a show because I may have to go, deal with some personal issues, and I just don't know. I'm hoping that we'll have a show, but I just don't know. If not, I hope you guys bear with me until we can get everything squared away. Tanya Willis, you had mentioned something earlier too. I wanted to answer your question, but it was during the conversation. She says, Haunted Tower Part 2 gave me chills throughout the entire show. Thanks for reliving that so that we could hear it, Josh. You're welcome. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for coming and listening to me talk. I can't remember what it was that you had said earlier, but you made a very valid, you had a very valid question, or you made a very valid point. One of the things you said here, I just found, I was looking for you, and it just says, love one another, even as I have loved you. Yes, that's a good thing to live by. That wasn't the one I was looking for, but actually, you said I had asked if it were possible that Roger had been hypnotized. That wasn't the statement either. But that's a good question. It would have been nice if I would have saw that and asked him. So many good questions on here, and I just can't. See, that's what the what is the chat? What is it called? Super chat is for. You give a donation. I'm not telling you to give a donation. I'm not asking you for money. What I'm saying is when you do that, though, it highlights your comment, and you can say your comment, and it like shows up. That's the whole point of the super chat. And then it highlights your comment, and then you get, and so I can see it, and I read everybody's super chat comments. Athena says, I feel like I'm so used to the paranormal because my mom told us stories from Mexico on our family ranch. Now, how haunted it is. Yeah. You get, yeah, it's hard to get used to it, but you can. Crypto Outlaw says, JC was a good friend of mine. We talked about that a lot in Encounters in the Four Corners area. Crypto Outlaw, what's your real name? Hit me up on Facebook. Well, I can't find the comment. Yes, I have. It says here, have you heard any of the stories of Icelandic folklore? It's interesting. More than half the people from Iceland believe in elves. Yes, and I do too, because they exist. Or duende or monitos, whatever you want to call them. They are there. The inner earth. I sound crazy when I tell people. They think I'm crazy, but you know what? I'm used to this. I'm used to being told crazy. Are you on TikTok? No. No, but you can hit me up on Facebook. I like that. Does that say send nerdy? Ephesians, grievous words stir up anger, but a soft answer turns away wrath. One of my favorite verses. Yes, it does. This person says, I'm half Icelandic. Some of these elves are pretty bad characters, yes. And the Icelanders know it too. And Elizabeth Smith, I wasn't trying to be a smart mouth about what I just said. Like, oh no, I'm not. I don't like TikTok. So Christian Arredondo, there are stories of duendes in Mexico where they beat up people. Absolutely. When I do my little people show again, there's some pretty rowdy stuff these little things do. Let me tell you, they're not nice. James Estrada, with all the wackiness going on in the world, nothing surprises me today. I believe Roger is telling the truth, and I definitely believe there are creatures and abominations living in inner earth. Folks, let me ask you a question. Well, we still got over 300 people in the chat room. Right now, if you're listening, okay, type on here what you believe. Do you believe Roger's telling the truth? Roger, we're going to get him on next week, and we're going to have him talk to Nick Valente. Nick kept his cards close to his chest. I tried to get him to pry him loose a little bit, and just see what he would tell me. But he wants to keep his, and that's good. That's fine. I just wanted to know for my own sake, But I'm glad he didn't do it, because I want to know what he has to say next week. But we're going to do this again on Tuesday, and we're going to find out some answers. Hopefully. Here's the thing. I want to know what you guys believe. Yes or no? You can just type on there yes or no, literally. Is Roger telling the truth? This person says, I'd like to. I'm like, I'd like to too, but I mean, I just don't know. See, Lene Perkins, I lean toward Roger being truthful. I do believe he believes it. Me too. But, you know. This person, I can't read what his name is, but it says, I'm surprised to see this is still going. I am too. I'm just as shocked as you are that I'm still here. Most of the people answering are saying yes. With about 330 people in the chat room, we're getting most people saying yes. Now, not everybody's responding, but I believe Roger's telling the truth. I believe he's telling another secondary dogman attack at the LBL, not necessarily the one Jody calls him a liar for representing. You know. Ronald Singh has a good point. He says, I want to see his body language live. Anyone can lie over the phone. It's true. Wendy's like, I don't know. In capital letters. Okay. That's fine. Elizabeth Smith, it just seems silly to lie about something like this. He has more to lose than he has to gain. True. My mother is not doing very well, James Estrada. Just please pray. I want her to be at least not confused, and you know, that's all. Gary Ryan, why would someone lie about that? Who knows? Do a Facebook poll. We should do a Facebook poll on the group, on the Facebook Paranormal Round Table group. You guys need to join our groups. We got Ryan's, which is a whisper to a scream. We got Tony's, Mushu, which is which is Paranormal Encounters. My wife's, which is Paranormal Lounge. That's Nellie's. And then we have Paranormal Round Table, which is the main group. So I guess I technically don't have one. That's just mine. I guess because I share that one with everybody from the PRT. So I guess maybe I should make my own and just be like Josh Turner's Paranormal Land or something. I don't know. Yeah, it says you can tell in a hurry if someone is making up a werewolf encounter. Well, Dick, I mean, I don't know. You know, just go to a very, very popular show and you just, the last so many episodes is just whatever. I don't get it. Thank you, Lene, for praying for us and our mothers and Nellie's back. It's sad that me and Ryan are both dealing with that. And the thing is, Barton had already written this, as, what he believed, and now that kind of turns it on its ear if Roger's story is to be believed. And you don't see Barton backing down and flipping out and going crazy about it, because he's just like, hey, if that's what it is and I was wrong, then I was wrong. So, you're talking about a guy who he could be like, upset about it, but he's not. He's just accepting it for what it is. It's a possibility. James Estrada, the reason it says here, we hear a ton of encounters each week, yet Roger's story is heavily scrutinized. Why him? Because he came out and talked about something that was 40 years, after the fact, and it became a very famous encounter because it was, what do you want to call it? How do you say it? Had a lot. It was talked about very heavily. It was written about very heavily. It was a very famous story that was it became very popular. And then there was different versions, and it just kind of spun off from there, and so, you got just, that's why this guy comes out and says that. That's why it's such a big deal, because the story had always been that, and then all of a sudden here's a guy that comes out and says that ain't the way it was, I was there, and all these other the versions or whatever aren't correct, that's the whole deal, like that's it. So I just saw Barton was trying to call me back. Should we call him?
Hello, Texas.
Hey. So what's going on, brother?
Who is this?
This is Wolf, Josh Turner.
Oh, I got this call. I didn't know it was you, Josh.
Wow.
I got it at like 10 o'clock. I thought, well, who's in Texas other than Josh? I don't know.
Well, and I actually got you on speaker.
Back, brother.
Okay. Well, it was me. Oh.
Well,
So.
Good. Now I know.
Well, that's good. I'm still doing my show. I'm just saying goodnight to everybody. Everybody's still talking.
Okay.
We were doing a little poll here, and that was, we were just.
Well, I had a good time on your show, Josh. I really appreciate you letting me be on there, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, Barton. You know that.
It always kind of fascinates me that people want to listen to what I have to say. I'm just really, I don't consider myself an expert at anything.
Well, you have I was just saying on here, and I don't know if folks can actually hear Barton, because I don't have it set up to run it through here. Hold on one second. Hey, Anthony. Yeah. Hey, can you set this up where I can put the phone back through the deal? Because I think I unhooked it. Hold on one second, Barton, because I was just saying something to my listeners about this. Can you run it back through there? Okay.
Take that black thing.
It's right here. I gotta put my headphones on, but I have them on speaker, but I can't hear it through here. See, it's on speaker.
I'll take it off speaker.
And just run it through there like that?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, buddy.
There we go. Okay. It's funny that you called back. I'm so tired. I can't even, that should have been something very easy. I don't even know why I had to have you do that.
It's okay, man.
Oh man, I'm so ridiculous.
I just got done with my bills and everything, and now I'm going to take a shower and get up at 5 a.m. and go.
Man, oh man,
be a slave to money.
Well, as soon as I leave here, I got to go run and check on 2 sites. Here's what I was going to tell you. You stand, to lose, not like big time anything, but you're basically defending Roger because you believe, for the most part, you believe his story,
right?
And
I have nothing to lose, Josh.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing.
but it kind of goes
nothing.
against what you had said before. But the fact that you're willing to let that be, that says a lot.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. All I care about is the truth. I don't care who's wrong or right. Really, I don't.
I mean, you're not defending. You're like, hey, if it was wrong, it was wrong, and you're standing by that. That says something.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying that, man.
Yeah.
But like I was telling you, I appreciate you letting me be on the show. It just always amazes me that anybody wants to hear what a simple Kentucky guy like me has to say.
Oh, it doesn't amaze me because you're not just a simple Kentucky guy. That's what makes you. That's what makes you an extraordinary individual because the humble people who don't look at themselves as, we were talking the other day, and I said, the one thing that aggravates me the most is when God is blessing someone and then they let their ego get to them, and it's like God's blessing you. And you're letting your ego get in there and
yeah, I don't believe in that.
That's not you, and I know that's not
right.
you. So
the only things that I've ever accomplished in my life have been by the grace of God. That's who I give the credit to, and it's just not me. I didn't choose to see all the things that I've seen and experience all the experiences that I had, and he chose me for a reason. I believe it has to be to tell people. So that's what I do, and I try to do to the best of my ability and try to be truthful and never lie. And I've never been accused of lying. A lot of people might think that I lie because I've seen so much and experienced so much, but I've never told a single lie to anyone about any of my experiences. So that's how I live my life, and that's the way I'm going to continue to live it.
Well, that much respect for you, Barton. And
thanks, brother.
I'm going to tell you what, folks, we're going to get Barton on eventually. We're going to do on the pre-recorded shows. We're going to have him talk about some of those experiences, and we're going to have him on the Friday shows, and where we get into a lot of like the stories, and people can go into the, those are the main shows. But here lately, the Tuesday shows have kind of stolen the spotlight just because of all that's been going on, and we're still going with this. And hopefully next week, Roger will come on and defend his truth with Nick.
I just got some more terrible news, Josh. Like you said, it's been a terrible week, and it's only Tuesday. And one of my best friends is an author, William Michael Mott, just lost his son.
Oh man!
I don't know how or any details, but anybody that's listening right now, please say a prayer for him. We need so many comforting prayers right now, and God seems to be taking all the good people away. So everybody should be concerned about that.
Mm-hmm. That is weird. I mean, I lost one of my really good friends just last year to brain cancer, and that's the art contest we do. We named it after him, and he was one of the best people. I felt like I lost my right arm when he died, and I'm still not over it.
Right, and it's just one after another now, and it's hard to overcome. But
it is.
I guess we have to keep on living, and it's our only choice. So. But if your listeners will say a prayer for Mike, I would really appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. You guys heard that, and we appreciate it. All right, guys. Barton, thanks for calling back.
You're welcome.
So, good night from Texas, and tell Kentucky I said good night too.
Yeah, good night from Kentucky. Right. Everybody have a blessed week. Stay safe.
All right, goodbye.
All right, thanks, Josh. Bye.
Kind of funny, he called, and then I'm so tired I couldn't even figure out how to turn the phone. I'm really not that technologically challenged. I just was like, how am I doing this here? Because I am very tired. But folks, still a lot of people in the chat room, so I was just, David Polite has lost his son, and now Mike lost his son. It's really weird what's going on. I mean, I don't even have an explanation for it, but maybe this could be a sign We all need to get ourselves right with God and whatever else you got to do. You know, I know there's a lot of people who don't believe like I do, and I'm not going to sit here and proselytize to you to believe like I do. I think time for that, for me, is past. You're going to believe or you're not going to believe. It's up to you. You choose your path. But all this supernatural things that you see that we talk about that go on in this world should be proof that there's more too out there than just what we perceive with our little minds. You know, there's a lot going on out there. And so, folks, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I appreciate you all hanging in there and being a part of this. Thank you for everyone who donated. Barton is, you know, got those DVDs that he's letting people bid on. They have the only interviews with Jan Thompson, who was involved in the LBL. And so if you want to go and place bids on that, that's fine. I made him a substantial offer. If he doesn't sell them, then I will pick them up and I will own them and I will distribute them for free as gifts for the show. So, yeah. And we've worked on getting our prizes, like bigger, better, cooler stuff to throw into the swag with the swag. You know, for people who win the contest every week, we do it every week. We do a book giveaway with an author. I have a huge pile of books over here from authors, from everybody from David Weatherly to Linda Godfrey, you know, Ken Gerhard, Lyle Blackburn, just Lon Strickler. I got. You know, Barton's about to send me a big shipment that I just had him autograph of the Inhumanoids book, which in my mind is one of the best. And so we got Chad Lewis. We need to get him on the show. I haven't talked to him in a while. Message him. Anybody follows Chad Lewis? He's an underrated author, but he's really good. We need to get Steve Stockton on. Communicated with him. You know, a lot of good guys, a lot of good women and men and women out there that write books and do really good stuff. And just got to have the time, man. You know, Albert Rosales, I talked to him. We're going to get him on, you know. I actually just was texting with Dark Waters earlier tonight. I need to get him on. I know he's a controversial guy too, but, you know, I mean, I give everybody a fair shake. Jody Cook, he's a very controversial person and has strong feelings about this case. And I asked Jody and I said, look, you know, you got to, you know, let the guy tell his story. Let him have his whatever, you know, but Jody's very passionate and he believes that he's not telling the truth. And he just wants people to know that he doesn't believe it. And, you know, you get caught up in that and you can't let yourself do that. You gotta step back, you know, and be like, hey, you know, this guy, his story will stand or fall on his own. You can't force things, you know, you can't force it. And, so we got all these people that we need to talk to and get on the show, and people that have stories to tell, like Kevin Panay. I'm going to get him on. He's a Hawaiian guy that has I'm going to try and talk to him. And Susie Smith, I haven't forgot about you. My wife reminded me the other day about, you know, the conversation we had. If you're out there listening, haven't forgot. The many multitude of people that have talked to me about their stories and about getting them on and telling their story, you know, and Dick Richards, get with me and we can and we can maybe get you on and tell your story correctly instead of the way that Dig Man told it, and we can tell you the correct, you can tell the correct way. So yeah. Everybody, thanks for listening. I appreciate everybody. Like I said, the donations. Everybody, thank you for being a part of the live stream. Don't forget, next Tuesday, when Roger will be on, hopefully, we'll be able to come on. He did commit and said that he couldn't do it this Tuesday, but that he definitely would be on next Tuesday. And Nick Valente will be cross-examining him, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Cross, whatever. How do you say it? Like, you know, interrogating. I don't know. Not interrogating, but you know what I mean. He's going to ask him some questions and yeah. So from everybody here at PRT, good night.